It's clobbering tricks time or something like that. Welcome. It's something. It's definitely something. Welcome everyone to Clobbering Times, issue number 775. Hey, I said it out without having to correct myself that time. Wow. What's wrong with me? Everything. Welcome everyone to a wonderful Saturday night. Our Saturday night Star Trek with the amazingly fantastic, and sometimes even fantastically, amazingly fantastic, and my good pal, the wonderful Raquel Briggs. How do?
Thank you, Captain. Thank you so much. Hail to the chat. Good evening, everyone. It is so good to see you, Lord Thoth, Steve Mitchum, Eric K, Scuba Pete, James, Dee Dee Myers. Everyone's starting to roll in and really excited about tonight. So cool.
Welcome, my good friends, Lord Thoth, my brother. Avon lives. LLL, long live the Legion, buddy. It is fantastic to see you. We have a Feliciano in our presence.
Welcome.
Yes, indeed. Raymond.
Oh, yeah. And where's his book?
Where's his? What do you mean?
Yeah, I need the link to his book. I was thinking about that. So sorry that sounded like, I just had a outburst in the classroom. But I would love to read his book. Is that in our?
I believe he is wrenched. He could definitely put it in there. I think he's wrenched, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Ariane, put your book in the chat. Link to it, please, in the chat, and feel free to do that anytime and sporadically throughout the show if you so choose. Because R.M. Feliciano, who I've been honored to have on my show before, has a novel, a science fiction novel out there called it's called All's Fair. It's the Dolphin Wars. It doesn't look like the link took there, bud. I don't know. Doesn't look like the link that you posted there works, I'm afraid. But if you can get that worked out, just please, feel free just to put it in there, please. I was supposed to put it in my description thingy, and I think I forgot, along with a lot of other things I was supposed to put in my description thingy. There are a lot of links in my description thingy. What?
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I beg your pardon. Mr. Feliciano just offered an autographed copy of his book. I would love that, Mr. Feliciano.
Well, absolutely. Oh, well, hell yeah. And by the way, speaking of writing, somebody else around here that looks suspiciously like a Dandorian is also a writer. Now, my wonderful first officer, Raquel Briggs. And there is a link, of course, also there is a link in my below in my description, everyone, to her. I believe that is your Amazon page that links to your writings.
It is. Guess who just walked through the door? One of my favorite people ever. Toxic Man Flu has just walked into the chat. I love you. Welcome. It's so good to have you here. Mwah, mwah.
Toxic Man Flu. Oh my goodness. Katie. Now,
Katie just walked in. That's great.
We have so many fantastic friends here. Toxic Man Flu. Welcome to Clobbering Times. I'm honored to see you. I've seen you in many chats. Thank you for being here. The wonderful, lovely, and fantastic Katie Carr. The ultimate, she's a big Trek fan in general, and the ultimate Voyager fan.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we got our buddy Ariane, as we've named, Mr. Feliciano. We have Scuba Pete, and you have said hello to these people, but I feel like I also should do so.
You go right ahead.
My great pal, the great Wrench of the West, the amazing, the spectacular Eric K. My great friend, Steve Mitchum.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Mitchum is here. Yo, brother. Always happy to see you, my friend. Let's see here. James Caserta. Hey, James Caserta. Thanks for popping in. I've seen you at the Great Doomcocks chat many times. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Dee Dee Myers. Who else we have here? Some of our other good pals. Well, I think I hit everyone, but eventually, hopefully, more wonderful friends will show up. But I'm very honored to have you all here. And again, this is the first time I've seen your buddy Toxic Man Flu, but I have seen him in many other chats, and I appreciate you. Welcome so much, sir. I'll go. There you go. Man, Eric's all over it.
Of course, because Eric is like top wrench. We got TMF. He is like my ultimate wrench. He is like the best chat guy and enforcer. And Eric's in the same room as him tonight. So tonight it's literally like the best of the best wrenches on the internet are here tonight. It's so
Indeed.
cool.
The bestest ever, in fact.
Hey, not that kind of ever.
No, not ever. I can't. No one can say it like the DC there. Ever. Okay. Well. Oh, and you know what? Before we get started, we would be remiss, whatever that means. You're the word scholar, not me. But I use words I don't know what they mean, folks. Soccer. I want to say congratulations to me. No, I'm just kidding. No, but I did cross. I did cross 250 subscribers. Big deal.
Yay!
But when I cross even the tiny little landmark, I have to at least geek out about it a little bit. So there it is, number 250, as in Fantastic Four, number 250, and this one's for you, Lord Thoth. Legion of Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes 250. Yep. Now again, watch those subs will go away now, just for But I did cross that, and so got a long road, and that's a segue that I'm almost proud of, because what I meant about being remiss is we would really be remissy. And one day I'll get you to tell me what the definition of that means. So just kidding. It is the 20th anniversary of a show that you and I both love that we'll be covering in the not too distant future, and not next Sunday AD. Star Trek Enterprise just this past week, as I mentioned earlier in the week, but since it's our Star Trek show, we got to do it. The wonderful Star Trek Enterprise. 20 years, my friend. 20 years.
It's been a long road. Getting from there to here.
I knew you were going to do that.
Sorry, I have to.
Thanks, everyone. 250 is no big deal, but look, hey, I just like being a comic book geek. I like little stupid landmarks like that. When I hit 200, I put like a billion different copies of comics at issue number 200. It was that pathetic.
My goodness, TMF, you just subscribed. That's great. I don't know how much time you've spent here, but you're gonna love it here. The chat here is it represents some of the most educated geeks and nerds on YouTube. So you're going to fit in here. You're going to fit in really, really well. And it's so great. No matter how much you know about Star Trek, you'll learn something here, either from what we're talking about or the people in the chat. So I'm so happy that you subbed. Thank you. Mwah, mwah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Listen, again, show notes. Monday night, I wanted to put some nights in stone. I finally got a stone schedule. Now, 9 p.m. 3 nights a week. There'll be, of course, Saturday for our Saturday Star Trek with the amazing Raquel. Monday nights, that's the comic book night. Now, of course, and some past couple nights, the wonderful Purple Valkyrie and the amazing Stone Loki, who made my wonderful intro, have been joining me. We've been talking WandaVision and other things, but that's going to be the big comic book night. Wednesday nights will be open geekness. And then I'm doing a Thursday day show now so I can kind of hook up for anyone, of course, but of course, hooking up with a lot of my dear friends across the pond it's very, very late right now and stuff like that. And so 4 shows a week now.
He says hooking up, and that's a Freudian slip on his part.
Ooh,
they're like some of the hottest chicks across the pond. They're the sweetest ladies. And I'm friends with them on Twitter, and they're just Sammy and Purple Valkyrie, and you may know her as Purple Lady on Twitter, but just a group of really great gals and smart, funny women.
As a matter of fact, yes. And last night yesterday I was a guest on their wonderful morning show, the Rise of and Shine of the Valkyries, which I was very honored to be on there with the beautiful Purple Valkyrie and the beautiful Samantha Joe, and they just hit monetization this past week. So last night we all had a big party for them, and I was honored to be on their show with them again last night for the party. So another big clobbering times. Congrats to the wonderful Rise and Shine of the Valkyries. There's a link to their wonderful channel below. If any of you have not subscribed to that, please do. They are really just lovely, fantastic ladies. The Palamise Minion has popped in. I'm always
welcome.
Honored to have you here, my friend. Please, both hands on the wheel. I tell her that every time. She drives a lot. I guess Lord Thoth, Enterprise wasn't bad. It had its moments. It was way better than not bad. As a great show. Love it. So there. But
I love Toxic Man Flu's comment at 12 minutes past the hour. Steve Mitchum, thank you for the offer of cake. I am diabetic, so digital cake is just fine.
well, you're like, oh, there you go. Like Enterprise. I keep missing that one. Where was it? Where was it? I lost. I can't find it. Oh yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I just missed it. Damn it. Oh, there you go. You said 12. I can't. My chat's moving on. Oh, there we go. Anyway, yeah, well, I love it. TMF, I'm so pleased to see you here. Speaking of Star Trek, which we do speak of Star Trek quite a bit.
We do.
Thank you, Katie. You're exactly right. She said, what did she say? She said, Shran made the series. He actually he produced and directed it. That's true. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I could. No, he didn't. Unless Rick Berman is Shran. No. But I know what she means.
I like this. I really like these comments. We've got Eric K right underneath. Jolene and Linda, simply stunning. Yeah. You bet your sweet patootie.
He has expressed a love for those two lovely ladies on a number of occasions. And you never get in an argument out of me, buddy. No, we're good.
Well, if you really like Enterprise and you don't want to wait for our coverage, because of course around here we're doing 66 to 05 and we're doing an episode review. And what we use is we use vetted material and then we infill it. We talk about different things afterwards. But did you know that Clobby and I, Mike and I, we did an in defense of Enterprise. And it's actually like real rhetoric. We tried to address every single grievance people have with Enterprise. And we did that so that we would encourage people to watch. But not only that, to get people excited about Enterprise and maybe want to watch it again and give it a chance. So that is on this channel. I forget what we called that. I think we might have just called it In Defense of Enterprise.
Yes, we did. And it's in the special Star Trek playlist on my channel. Anyone who, because we've done many, even before we started reviewing the series, we have done many Star Trek videos on this channel. I'm glad you reminded me of that. So she mentioned so I put them into a playlist. I've done many with the wonderful Raquel here. Did a couple other ones before that. So yes, if you want to just see any of our Star Trek videos, you can find them there. You go to the channel in that playlist there. So yes.
It's a long show, but if you really like Enterprise, you'll actually enjoy it because it really is a conversation that addresses directly the rhetoric against this show. And we went through it point by point. So we decided before we did the show that we were both going to cogitate. We were going to think about these things and also look around the internet at the gripes and grievances people had with Enterprise. And then we went through each and every single one that we could, of course, with time being the constraint there. But it's quite satisfying for the Enterprise fan.
I would hope so. Absolutely. And we were fair to some of the criticisms. We addressed them, I think. So yeah, we had a lot of fun doing that. And yeah, if you're an Enterprise critic, give it a shot anyway. What the hell?
Yeah,
I like it. Mark with a C is here under an assumed name, but here nonetheless.
Yes, he is. Welcome, Mark. So nice to see you. And TMF says, before we go any further, Trip's death, pure crap?
Pure crap, sir. I know our dear friend Katie likes that episode, These Are the Voyages, but I hate it. Except for toward the end with some of the stuff with the forming of the Federation and all that stuff, but much like most of the actors of the series themselves who hate that episode, and I love you, Katie. Just slight disagreement on there. I really hate These Are the Voyages. It angers me in so many ways. However, it takes place many years after the previous episode, Terra Prime. So hey, Trip did not die that way. That was
yeah.
a lie.
and
alive.
very, very heavy-handed and final. It's like, you not only did you put the series in an Iron Maiden, but you put it at the bottom of the sea. And I think fans deserved more than that, because we could have resurrected this iteration of Star Trek, and it also denied us the possibility of even having some low budget films. So, shame on them for just eviscerating this series and just acting so rashly and undeservedly towards this iteration of Star Trek.
Absolutely, and yes, absolutely, Katie. As much as she does like it, and which is cool, by the way. Opinions are always welcome here, unless you disagree
I
with me.
think the
Just
reason
kidding.
why Katie
But
likes it, like she talks about it quite a lot on Twitter, one of the reasons why she likes it, this episode, is not that it's because Trip dies, but Katie is very attached to how well this is acted. She's attached to the script and the compassion behind the script and just the portrayal of the character. So she's not a masochist. She's not like, oh, Trip died. It's that she loves this series so much, and just the writing was just so on point, that it's almost as if you're rubbing it back in their face that they stopped this beautiful series and look at the material they had on hand. Look at these marvelous actors and the amount of talent they had on hand, and wasted it. So that's where Katie's coming from on that one. But funny.
that's it, which is perfectly fine. Opinions are okay, and we love her for it no matter what. And again, I don't entirely disagree with her about that. Again, I think it's just the whole. In fact, I think the whole oddness of the setup of the holodeck wraparound story, I just don't like that. And the death of Trip. There actually that ending there, although it would have been kind of fun to actually hear the whole Federation speech. We kind of got cheated out of the Archer's speech, would have been nice. But that ending with the voiceovers and stuff was kind of good. But hey, Rick Berman's, he was big enough to come out and say, okay, I kind of maybe dropped the ball there in a little bit. But anyway, 20 years of this wonderful show. I love it. If you've never checked it out, you should if you're a Trek fan. And if I've said this a lot. I was saying this the other night. I think a lot of people who don't like it probably watched it a little bit back when it was on the air, maybe gave it a peek every now and then, but have never really given it a fair shake again, especially with older eyes, if you'll forgive the term. Which, because sometimes that works for me. I could watch something I didn't like as much before and get more out of it. So I don't know. I think a lot of people probably need to give it a second look if they haven't watched it since then. It's just my opinion on that.
Yeah, it's unfairly maligned for another reason too, and that is the Star Trek fatigue. So once once the IP was fully released onto cable, there are many people, many folks who would turn on the Sci-Fi Network or the Space Network, depending upon what country you live in, and you would have TNG on there, and you'd have TOS on there, and you'd have DS9 on there, and you'd have Voyager on there, and you'd have Enterprise on there. And so I think there was a little bit of watch fatigue going on there too, because they didn't anticipate the impact of syndication and these packagings of cable networks exclusively dedicated to geeks and nerds. So I think that's also why it didn't get a fair shake. But I just want to let everyone know that we will be talking about that in great detail when we get there. We are going to be discussing Star Trek from 66. Well, actually, it's technically 1964, but 66 to 2005, which is the real Star Trek. There is no other Star Trek.
Exactly.
And we're going to go through we're just going to go through the whole canon. We're just doing everything episode by episode, every single film. And especially for TOS, we're doing it in production order instead of broadcast order, so that people can truly experience what this beautiful, beautiful IP has to offer.
Absolutely. And we're about to get on to the original series, but I just want to say, yes, I do agree with you on there, Katie. I loved Shran and Tala. And then that episode, that stuff with Shran was great, and no question about it. I definitely give you that, and the soundtrack was great too. So there were some really great points in it. I think most people just were part of it's the frustration of killing Trip and being the last episode and all kind of But anyway, I hear you there. I will say this as well. The last episode felt like the end of Star Trek. It was the final fare, and boy, was it ever.
Yeah,
Was
and
the
it was
final act.
brutal. It was way too brutal. It was very heavy-handed. It's enough to pillory the IP, and it's entirely another to have it drawn and quartered so, in such a vulgar way and a gory way in front of us. There was no need to be so final and heavy-handed with the series, but we're going to talk about that. I love Toxic Man Flu's comment at 21 minutes past the hour.
Yes.
He says, Enterprise is my favorite of all the series, even TOS. I'm weird that way. I think the whole Paramount Network thing was too much weight for it to carry. And I want you to know you are going to love that show that Clobby and I did on In Defense of Enterprise, because you'll actually hear us say that quite a few times, that this is the one series that I believe Gene would have been happy with.
I do believe, yeah, I absolutely believe that, and I love it. We even acknowledged a lot of the criticisms that were out there, but I don't. Not that I agree with many of them. I have understood some over the years. I think some of them are just wrong, but that's opinion. But that's neither here nor there. We had a lot of fun defending it, always will, and we love 20 years, and I just really do love this show. But I wanted to say address my friend Steve Mitchell before we get going here. On a completely unrelated topic, if Clobby and I did an episode on the principles of animation, he's an animator, by the way.
Oh, lovely.
Is that something people would be interested in seeing? He asks. I don't know. I don't know if they would or not. We're going to do it anyway, either way, buddy. But
Steve, just so you know now, right now, you have proved yourself to be a very kind and intelligent person in all of my interactions with you. And so I would be delighted to learn about your craft, and I would definitely show up to support that. We love craft around here, whether that be writing or whether that be filmmaking or animation, whatever your flavor, we're definitely supportive of that. So yeah, I will definitely be there to support you.
And it looks like some others agree with you that say that would be cool. So yep, Steve, yo brother, we'll put that together. Looking forward to it. I love me some animation. The older I get, the more I need cartoons actually, and I love animation anyway. And well, look, Toxic Man Flu, man, I'm glad you're here. He's found his people. Look at that.
I like his comment at 22 minutes past the hour. I might cosplay an Orion slave girl for this stream. I am that excited. I would love that. That would be hysterical. I know your wife would find that hysterical. Yeah, it didn't happen unless there are photos. That's all I have to say, TMF.
Indeedishness. But yes, great idea. Writers took so much from TOS and Voyager, probably why Enterprise clicked with me. Well, there you go. I understand it. Yeah, clicked with me for a lot of ways. The original series, which we're about to get on, I promise everyone. I love it so much. I guess Enterprise is the one, and I love the others, but it's the one that makes me feel most like the original series. It just does. I've given reasons why before, but just me.
Yeah.
So tonight, folks, we are about to get onto it. We have 3 stories, but 4 episodes. Well, 4 stories really, because we have a 2-parter. We're about to start with.
Yeah.
We have some great stuff. In other words, a lot of Trek greatness, in my opinion, tonight. And so the original series, of course, if you want to get us rolling with this, a bit of about the book, you will be.
Yeah. So if you're new here, I'm a communications and technology scholar, and I like to really vet books. And so I was looking through this book, and of course this was christened by the great DC Fontana. This book, Star Trek 365, is a highly visual book, but it has a lot of production notes in it, and it has verified things that happen behind the camera, behind the scenes. I also chose this book because it's set up like Clobby calls it a brick, and I call it a tile, because together you can sort of get an idea of what Clobby and I are talking about. And that is that this book is hella weird. It has little tiny paragraphs on each page, and then these beautiful visuals that are seldom seen or rarely seen. So what we do around here is we read the tiles off and then we discuss, okay, so this is on record, this is verified, this is what they want to say about Star Trek. What are the rumors? What did they miss? Let's infill that and debate whether or not we agree with Block and what other information is out there. So that's the format of the show. And Clobby and I hope you enjoy it.
Absolutely. We will be beginning with, as you can see, we're starting with the episode Court Martial. So you may proceed at will.
Thank you, Captain. Okay, like he said, folks, it's Court Martial. This is season 1, episode 20. But around here, we do things the way that the authors would have done them. So we're looking at Prod Code 15. That's right, we've already done 15 episodes. Can you believe it? All right. We're on page 8687 or tile 8687. Mr. Feliciano, you have a copy of this book. So if you want to turn there, now's the time to do it. When Captain Kirk is put on trial, his career hangs on the courtroom skills of attorney Sam Cogley. The case against Kirk is strong. He is accused of jettisoning an observatory pod during an ion storm without giving Lieutenant Commander Ben Finney, the crewman manning it, time to escape. The captain remembers the incident differently, but computer records support the accusations, and they don't lie, or do they? Prosecuting attorney Shaw, who is an old girlfriend of Kirk, seems to have an ironclad case against the captain, but the eccentric Codley is unconcerned, and he places more faith in his old books than any computer. Aboard the ship, McCoy worries when First Officer Spock seems more interested in taking on the ship's computer at chess than helping him to prove his captain's innocence. The actor Alicia Cook Jr.'s portrayal of attorney Samuel T. Cogley would be nothing less than scene stealing is hardly surprising. During his 60-year career, Cook managed to hold his own opposite such heavyweight actors as Humphrey Bogart in The Maltese Falcon and Alan Ladd in Shane. He was also lauded for dozens of equally challenging roles. It's easy to believe that Cook is speaking for both himself and Cogley when he delivers the speech championing the values of books over computers. And not surprisingly, the episode built around his character features the most prominent appearance of that ancient paper artifacts make in all of Star Trek. Kirk reads the accusations against him on printed paper and soon finds his quarters crowded with stacks of books. Ultimately, Spock responds to the accusations. It's tangible proof that the computer was wrong, while Cogley's books were right. The message may be even more relevant in today's internet world than it was in the 1960s. But Kirk, at least, seems to have taken it to heart. In the Star Trek motion picture that features the original crew, we learn that Kirk subsequently gains a great appreciation of real leather-bound books. In fact, Spock gives him a precious copy of A Tale of Two Cities in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Another classic aspect of Court Martial is its plotline, which is reminiscent of the lavish Cecil B. DeMille film Reap the Wild Wind. In that film, John Wayne is accused of wrecking his ship, and a missing woman is assumed to have been killed in the wreck, just as Kirk is accused of destroying the pod containing Finney. Although Paulette Goddard, the ship's owner, is Wayne's accuser, she falls in love with him, just as Kirk's prosecutor Shaw seems to retain a soft spot for her old flame. And as in Court Martial, the story ends in a hand-to-hand combat, although Wayne's final showdown is with a giant squid. Even though no official rules were ever established for the game, fans worldwide have taken up the gauntlet and developed rules for their own non-canonical enjoyment of three-dimensional chess. Judging by its appearance in the 6 original series Star Trek episodes, Where No Man Has Gone Before, Charlie X, By Any Other Name, The Court Corbinite maneuver, whom gods destroy, and of course, court martial. Tri-level chess appears to be Spock's favorite pastime, although Kirk beats him at it in at least 2 of those 3 episodes, thanks to Kirk's unpredictable, illogical human decisions. The first matte painting on record was created by director Norman Don in his 1907 film Mission of California. Don placed a pane of painted glass between the camera and his subjects, and then he photographed them together. Numerous techniques for combining matte shots with live action photography have been developed in the centuries since. From stacked multi-panes of glass to double exposure to blue screen processes. Beginning in the 1930s, digital imaging increasingly has replaced matte paintings. And today, literally hundreds of computer programs offer ever-expanding tools and techniques. And yet this matte of court martial's Starbase 11 shows the creativity of early matte artists has rarely been surpassed. Albert Whitlock painted the work with oils on masonite, revealing the timeless precision and skill of his brushwork, as well as his affinity for imaging futuristic landscapes. And that is all that Block has to say about court martial. And now I'm going to throw it over to Clobby and the chat. What do you guys think of Block's evaluation of this episode? And did you learn anything new you didn't know before?
No, always we do. We always learn something new there. By the way, big hello to the to our good buddies Smart Steve 68 and I'm going to pronounce that right one day, if it is pronounceable. This is probably a top 10er for me. I love Court Martial. I love this episode. I mean, it just this broken record time, folks. But because this show is about such great characters, because this first season, especially in this production order, it's about developing great characters. You don't develop them much better than in this episode. I really do love this. This is you got great Kirk moments and great Spock moments in this one. I love, of course, Elisha Cook Jr. as Samuel T. Cogley. One of the finest, in my opinion, guest shots on all of Star Trek. It's just sensational. I believe this. Some of you may, if you watched Magnum PI in the 80s, he was sort of a semi-regular on that show. Remember that?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and but a great actor. I love Samuel T. Cogley. I love also. I hate when I forget the name. I love the actor playing Commodore Stone, but I am Percy Rodriguez. I got it. I think it was Percy Rodriguez. Did I get it right? Oh, maybe I did. I think. All right. Anyway, Commodore Stone, again, great character. I just the conflict between them two, or the confrontation between the two at the very beginning in the teaser, sets the tone for this just great episode. And this is a Trek. It truly is a character episode. So Sandra Feliciano is here.
Yes.
Welcome.
Good evening. It is so nice to see you. I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you for being here, Sandra. But yes, this was not all that much of the an episode about so many different science fiction-y ideas, except of course talking about man fading in the face of the machine, as Samuel T. Cogley puts it. Mm-hmm. And I love, again, it's just so good. I love every single bit of this episode, from Kirk getting kind of shunned by his old academy mates. The scene in the bar with when he first meets Ariel Shaw. Again, this guy's about to have his career destroyed, and I just love this about Kirk. The calm he has when as soon as he sees this old flame, he's like, yeah, they're about to court martial, but what the hell? I get to sit and talk to a beautiful woman. It looks like he doesn't even care when she pops in. He's, and of course, again, the wonderful drama of her being the one that is going to be his prosecution.
Yeah.
Love all of that stuff. I love this scene right here when Kirk is being on the testifying, and they read off his record, and of course, she being a good prosecutor, said, we all are. We all know how decorated Captain Kirk is.
Yeah, for sure.
And then Cogley says, "Oh, wait a minute now," and of course he has them run the whole record. And this is a captain, mind you, everyone, who is less than 34 years old. He's only been on the Enterprise a short couple of years.
Yeah,
and he's one of the most decorated officers already in Starfleet right now.
Yeah.
Just so good, this scene where he's sitting there when he's talking about the steps he took, and when he's testifying about how he finishes testimony with that line that is so telling about Kirk, and nothing is more important than my ship.
Yeah.
The Spock testimony for him. Again, when he the belief he already has in Kirk from the couple of years he's known him now. It is impossible for Captain Kirk to act irrationally in a situation like that. Mm-hmm. The example he gives: if I drop a hammer on a planet with a positive gravity, I do not need to see it fall to know it did.
Well, he does that to shut her down, because she's basically accusing him of being emotional, and he just turns around and corrects her and says, "Look, this rhetoric is not about passion. It's not about that. It's about pure logic. Ethos, pathos, logos. This is completely logos. So this is all logic. There are no passions here." So I think she sort of tries to emasculate him or embarrass him, and make it seem as though it's impossible for him to be unbiased. And of course, he shuts her down handily. Smart Steve, or is it Smart Steve? Yeah, he says, "Korsh, are you drunk on Trek, Raquel?" No, that couldn't be further from the truth. The thing is that this book is meant for reading, not for speaking. And when I'm reading and the tiles get too long, I rush because I don't want you guys to get bored. But it's also the fact that why did the writer put so many C's one after another? Wow, it's a lot of C. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of C bombing going on in the text. But yeah, so there's my answer on that one.
I didn't see that one. I must have missed that.
Yeah.
Well. Oh, there you go. And was it Sandra has something to say? Well, I mean, everyone has something to say. If we stop for every single chat, my friends, we would take some time. But she's answering Mark with the C. As a military officer, she would follow the orders given to her. With the lack of qualified personnel on that starbase, it's not likely that there was someone else qualified to do the job. I guess he must have been asking about why they would put her there. Since, I mean, did they? I guess yes, maybe someone. I don't know if someone knew that they had a history.
Yeah, well, that's actually in my notes. So from my notes, I just said this is the first time Starfleet and Starfleet Command are ever used. So they finally invented that. Well, not they, Gene Roddenberry. This is I put Starfleet versus standard female uniform, no velour, longer with neck piping. Women are free to choose or refuse, quote unquote, modesty. So there's another thing from this. Another thing that I love about this episode: the courtroom door is hinged. You won't see that very often in Star Trek. There are a couple of more episodes where you will see a hinged door, and we'll get to that. But there's actually a hinged door in this courtroom. This is the third time Uhura is in charge of the nav and comms simultaneously. That, of course, being the Naked Time, Balance of Terror. But she is also at the nav in the man trap. But people don't consider it the fourth because it's actually a recycled shot from Naked Time. And I put down here in my notes, Shaw's conflict of interest, prosecuting attorney who had a sexual relationship with the defendant, is never properly addressed. It's also repeated and borrowed by The Measure of a Man, which is TNG from 1989. A similar scenario is played out with Jean-Luc Picard and JAG Captain Philippa Louvois. And then, of course, we have the Signias appear on uniforms from non-Enterprise crew. So when we're in the pub, you'll see that the insignias that are on the uniforms, they look like those officers are from the Enterprise, and they're not. And that was, of course, due to budget, and also what we were talking about before, which is that that velour that they chose perpetually shrunk. So every time they'd send it out for dry cleaning, it would become shorter and shorter. So extras would start wearing it. So it's not really like an inconsistency. It's more about budget. And I think it's important to say that because one implies that the show is sloppy, and one reveals the truth, which is that the show is just struggling financially. Yeah, of course, we've got Percy Rodriguez, who is Commodore Stone. This is the highest ranking African-American officer in TOS. And I just want to remind everyone that Gene is on record, and I've discussed this on many occasions before, saying the network was against a mixed-race crew, let alone an African-American Commodore. So I just love that Gene pushed that through. Despite the network always telling him, that's not prudent, or, that's not what we really want. What else have I got here? Oh, Alice Rawlings as Jamie Finney almost ruins this episode for me. She's a whiny brat. I also put chess and computer science is a very hot topic in the real chess world today. And that's all I have in my notes.
Again, it's just terrific. So many wonderful scenes. Like, I mean, I can't even count them all. I love the stuff. And by the way, great stuff as always. I love the stuff between both Kirk and Ariel Shaw. I love the stuff, especially with Cogley. When Cogley, wow, that scene at the courtroom is one of my favorite things I've ever seen in Star Trek. When he gives his impassioned speech, when, as you know, the court is already adjourned because he didn't know what to do. And Spock, of course, when he saves Kirk's bacon with his new information, and it was too late. Now you already closed it up. You can't. And he makes his impassioned speech to get justice for Kirk. I never get tired of that scene.
Did you know that there are several rumors? I have never been able to confirm them, but there are several rumors that he was unable to get through that scene despite reading it multiple times. So they actually had to piece that together because the speech was so long and so impassioned, and he was holding eye contact to a degree where he just kept losing his place or fumbling his words. So there is actually a rumor, an unconfirmed rumor to the best of my knowledge, that didn't go down very well.
Wow.
He really struggled with it. Another thing that I think that we should talk about before we move on is I really, really love helping people to understand the socio-historical context of Star Trek. So I would love it if you wouldn't mind, Clobby. Could you please put up that beautiful map of the Starbase 11, because it's here in the book. And it's really funny. This is going to make me sound like a complete nerd, but I actually pause when that scene comes up because just the mat is so incredible.
Did you see it somewhere? Where would I find that?
It's not on there, but if you type in Star Trek Starbase 11, it would come up.
Starbase Operations. Different episode. 11. Let's see if we can find it.
Yeah, it's just absolutely gorgeous.
Oh,
yeah. So like the fidelity of these photos, I can't tell you how
like a different one.
Yeah, no, that's just gorgeous. But it's just like, look at this. Look what this person did. Isn't it just gorgeous? It's
wonderful.
Gorgeous. Oh, Rod's here. Good evening, Rod.
Rod Thunderheart. Thank you for popping in, my friend. Always a pleasure. We appreciate seeing you.
And it's the reason why I like to remind people of this is because, when folks go back and they're looking at this IP, they're looking at this original Star Trek, it's really important for people to know about the budgetary constraints, but also about the technological constraints. There are a lot of technological things here that are entirely different than what we do today. CGI, taking 10 minutes to make something, when meanwhile, this person rendered this incredible matte mixture between painting and photography, and it winds up on screen, and it's just gorgeous. It draws you in, and I just love art, so I just think it's just beautiful.
It is. Yeah. Well, I understand. It is wonderful. I guess other things I love about the episode is again how Spock would not give up on Kirk, which I always love. I'm always a sucker for that. For Spock, just the way he believes in Kirk, and vice versa. Obviously. And the other way around, we know Kirk would never give up on Spock, and I just love that about it. And again, it's just it was a really, really touching, well written, so clever episode. Just other than, of course, one little bit of action at the end. It's not action packed and just Trek never needed to be.
Yeah.
The stuff about
it's a cerebral show. That's why it got canceled. Is because it was too nerdy.
Yes.
It wasn't geeky. It was nerdy, and they just said, "Look, like this is way too cerebral. This is reaching to a place where we don't think that viewers are smart enough to go there." And of course, they were totally wrong.
Yes.
People like smart TV.
Yeah. Funny how.
Well, at least my generation did. Gen X, like we like smart TV.
Well, you remember what was it? ABC canceled the show Police Squad, which I loved, with that Leslie Nielsen, and it was ridiculous. This is in the early '80s. It was sort of based on the film Airplane. It only lasted 6 episodes. You know what their excuse was for canceling? Because it was really crazy, out of this world slapstick humor with all this stuff going on. They said, "Look, when you watch this show, and it is crazy humor, but you have to think." They actually said you sit there and you have to think about all the jokes because there's so many things going on and they're so ridiculous and so crazy. So the network said people don't want to think; they want to watch Laverne and Shirley. So you had a very clever, crazy, outrageous comedy series. It was hilarious and just nuts, but no, it was too smart. And again, they were using idiot humor in a smart way, and well, it was too smart. So that's a network for you, folks. Remember that? 6 episodes. God, the show was hilarious.
I love what Mark has said at 48 minutes past the hour, because of course, keep going. He's got quite a few. He's got, although Kirk never should have kissed Shaw on the bridge. It's funny you should say that, because we're going to talk about that a little bit later. There is quite a bit of material in the book on the Menagerie, part 1 and 2. And of course, everyone here who watches this show with Clobby and I knows that I love Grace Lee Whitney. And I just think that she's fabulous. And of course, most of you know that she was sexually assaulted, or she alleges that she was sexually assaulted. And she wrote that in her 1998 book. And Block, among other authors who have written about Star Trek, claimed that the reason why they got rid of Grace was because she was getting too much chemistry with Kirk. And so I like how revealing that is for Mark to say that, because once we start looking at this in production order and we start hearing about the stories behind the scenes, we know when they're BSing and when they're not. And so clearly we know that these facts don't line up. And so, the truth of Grace's story begins to emerge.
Absolutely. Well, yes, indeed. I have no problem with him kissing her on the bridge because, he's Kirk. And it always makes me think of the bloopers where she said, "Do you think it would cause a total breakdown of discipline if the low lieutenant kissed the star of a ship's captain?" Remember the blooper? Oh dear!
Well, at least she didn't have a cold sore. The conscience of the king. Wow, that cold sore could have put out an eye, and yet Bill sucked it up. He sucked it up, literally and figuratively. It was like, "Ew, what are you doing, Bill? Back away from the herpes."
I don't know that hottie. But I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but she was. Says, was it McCoy said that's quite an exciting creature? I wouldn't. It was Fox. I wouldn't know. I didn't notice.
Maybe that's how she got the cold sore. I don't know. I'm not going to judge her. I'm not.
Oh,
No
dare
judgment
you.
here. No judgment here. I know I'm being terrible.
Oh my word! How dare you?
Yeah,
So
you see, Steve Mitchum is like me. See that he has the same reaction I have.
you.
Yeah, you just see that huge cold sore, and you're like, no, I'm going to
Oh
pass.
dear. Oh my goodness. This is again, like I say, and I'll be doing a list one of these days again. Probably a top tenner for me. I really love it. Just a beautiful, wonderful episode through and through. In spite of what annoyed Raquel about the young lady whose name I played Jamie Finney. I can't really say I blame you, but
Alice Rawlings.
Okay. I never even knew her name till today. But yes, I do love this episode. So are we moving on? Or
Well, I'd like to put it up to the chat.
yes.
Chat is now erupting like space herpes. And they're all making hysterical jokes about this. But I would like to put it to the chat. So the professor is in, and I am going to go ahead and give this episode a B+. A B+. And I'd like to put it out to the chat. You can do a 1 through 10, or you can give a professor's grade. I would like all of you Star Trek nerds, Star Trek professors to throw up your grade for this one.
But don't throw up. Sorry, couldn't resist. But yeah, exactly. But I'm so glad you started that last week. We should have been doing it the weeks before. I want that to be a tradition where we always, after we give our little rating, and then we let everyone else chime in. I go with an A. I love this episode very much.
Okay.
It is an A to me. Or if you want to go to the 110 route, this episode is a 9.5 or whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, so let's see here. And then I'm not gonna do it that way. Scuba Pete, A-. Raymond Feliciano, A+.
Eric's with me.
Yep, let's see. A again from the great smart Steve Mitchum, Mr. Steve Mitchum. Another Steve is an A, and Eric is a B+ to an A. And for me, holds up today. Great. Okay, the Mark with a C. Did you give us a rating there? James Caserta. Hello, James again. An A for James. A+. A- for Eric. Damn me, I hate myself. I want to pronounce that name, sir, or person. What is that? I don't know. Can you make a head or tail with that? What that is?
2-to-1 ratio. The colon is a sign for ratio, and that is a bachelor's of science with honors. So basically, is saying not a professor, just an undergraduate. Underneath, we've got TMF, who I love so much. Can we marquee that, please?
I give this episode 4. What the hell? Okay.
4.75 out of
4.75. Man. There's always got to be one wiseacre.
I love it. And Sandra's with me. Yeah, it's a B+, isn't it, Sandra?
B+ for Sandra. So that's a pretty high rating average there. Mark with a C is a name. My good buddy Lord Thoth is either an A- or I got something on my screen. No, that's an A-. I just made sure I had to scratch it because my screen is all dirty right now. Let's see. And James Caserta, the stupid sound device. Yeah, Mr. Microphone.
It's a microphone, yeah.
Yeah, or remember that old toy from the 70s, Mr. Microphone? That's what it looked like.
Yeah.
She nailed it because she is smart. I'm the dumbass that goes, what the hell is that? Hey, man, shriek English. Oh, shite. Every time in logs, I hear that in logs. I hear that scene from Young Frankenstein in my head. Yes, great movie. I love that movie. So I suppose. All right, everyone. I suppose we're ready to move on to our next episode, if you are.
Yeah. What do I have here? Sorry about this. Next one. Oh my goodness. We have arrived, folks. The Menagerie, part 1 and 2, season 1, episodes 11 and 12. This is a prod code of 16. And I have not pre-read the tiles for this one from the block text, but I know a great deal about this episode, how it worked, why it happened. So if it doesn't get covered in this reading, I promise I will unpack it, and Clobby and I will infill anything that block misses. Okay, right, Clobby?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay, so
yes, number one.
yeah, so there is a reason why there's only a prod code of 16, and that there's only one production going on here, and we're going to get to it. So without further ado, let's get on the menagerie parts 1 and 2. I rhymed. I know TMF will like that. Now I promise not to like read at 7 million miles an hour, but there's just so much to read, and I don't want you guys to get bored. So I will blow through this as quickly as possible. So the Enterprise diverts to Starbase 11 after Spock reports that Christopher Pike, the Enterprise's former commander, has requested their presence at the station. When they arrive, the station's commander, Commodore Jose Mendez, tells Kirk that Pike couldn't possibly have issued the summons, as he was severely disabled in a recent accident and can't move or speak. When Kirk meets with Mendez, Spock returns to the ship and beams up Pike, whom he served under for more than 11 years, and then locks the Enterprise on course for the planet Talos 4, a planet that the Federation has forbidden starships to visit. Years earlier, Captain Pike was captured by the planet's inhabitants, a race of powerful telepaths who have the dangerous ability to make illusions seem real. Pike has managed to convince the Talosians to release him, but now it seems as if Spock is determined to deliver the helpless captain into their hands, and he's willing to risk both his career and Kirk's in order to achieve it. On to Tile 91 now. Producing episodes of a television series week after week is a huge responsibility, particularly when it comes to staying under budget and on schedule. Filmmakers are always on the lookout for novel ways to stay ahead of the curve, and Star Trek's producers were no exception. They couldn't help thinking about the show's original pilot, which was sitting in a film vault, apparently destined for obscurity. After all, the cage represented an episode that already had been shot, and it was paid for. If only there were a way to use it. Think of the time and money they'd save. And so a script was devised, a frame, in literary parlance, that could be wrapped around the existing footage in an interesting way. By producing 1 hour of television, the producers could fill 2 hours of airtime. They could give them more time to develop additional episodes and recoup some of the money they had spent on the pilot. As a bonus, since the existing footage contained plenty of action, the frame didn't need to, so it could be frugally shot almost entirely on existing sets, with no location shooting and a minimum of additional actors to hire. The frame worked brilliantly. For once, Star Trek found itself both a few days and a few dollars ahead. And to top it off, the Menagerie, which had been Gene Roddenberry's original title for The Cage, won the 1966 Hugo Award, science fiction's most prestigious honor for Best Dramatic Presentation. On to Tile 93 now. Desilu and NBC executives had discussed the possibility of airing The Cage as a movie of the week if Star Trek did not go forward as a series. When the pilot was nixed, Desilu approached actor Jeffrey Hunter with a request to rejoin the cast in order to shoot enough additional footage to make the movie option viable. But Hunter, who wanted to return to feature films, declined. This meant that Roddenberry had to devise a way to make Christopher Pike look very different in the frame story that would ultimately envelop the first pilot. Thus, it was decreed that Pike, following an act of heroism befitting his character, had been burned beyond recognition. They gave a newcomer, Sean Kenny, the man behind the disfiguring makeup, some very subdued screen time in the Menagerie. Happily, it was not Kenny's only role in the series. He also appeared as Lieutenant DePaul, alternately a navigator and helm officer in the episode Arena and A Taste of Armageddon. Appearing with Sean Kenny in this still is Malachi Throne. So you in the book. Oh yes, you have put up the exact right picture. Excellent. In addition to co-starring in dozens of movies and television shows, Throne had an ongoing career as a voiceover artist, lending his vocal tones to commercials ranging from Revlon to Goodyear, which is why he was originally heard but not seen in The Cage. Throne's voice replaced the female voice of the actress playing the Talosian keeper, or the magistrate. We really can't call her a keeper after we find out she's a magistrate, thus enhancing the character alien quality. When he was later cast as Commodore Mendez in The Menagerie, the sound department electronically modified the original voiceover recording to make sure that the keeper's voice was different from that of Mendez. And of course, that was also to remove the gender from the magistrate, or what people would call the keeper. The magic of visual effects allows a set designer to build a minimal amount of background, which later will give the impression of a maximum degree of scope. After actress Julie Parrish and 2 extras were photographed in front of a simple block facade, the effects department superimposed the image onto matte paintings depicting Starbase 11. Without the beautiful matte, the outer space beyond the facade would have been the empty space of the soundstage. Such a gorgeous shot. And that, Clobby, that's the shot in, I think it's down in your far left-hand corner. You see that beautiful purple sky? That's the picture that's on in the book right now.
All right, trying to find it.
1 minute, or rather 1 star date, she was there standing at the captain's side, handing him an electronic clipboard to initial, pouring him a cup of coffee, serving him a plate of those multicolored veggie cubes. The next minute, she was gone. Clearly, NBC had been hoping that Yeoman Rand, Grace Lee Whitney, would be a big hit with Star Trek viewers. The network featured her in the early promotional photography for the series and played up her role in their press releases. To judge from these interns of the big 3 Star Trek were Kirk, Spock, and Rand. The back cover for the official tie-in book, a collection of short stories adopted from the Star Trek episodes by science fiction author James Blish, even describing Rand as the most popular member of the crew, the truly out-of-this-world blonde who has drawn the important assignment of secretary to the captain on her first mission in deep space. And of course, that's incorrect, because as a yeoman, she's also a bookkeeper and all sorts of other things. So Block dropped the ball there. Despite the network's early enthusiasm for the character, Janice Rand no longer served on the Enterprise after the Conscience of the King. There are several conflicting rumors about why Whitney left the show. The one most often repeated is that the network found Kirk to be too constrained by her presence. After all, the captain was a virile man who needed space to roam and to engage in a new romantic tryst every week. It was good for the ratings, but how could he do that with this secretary? Geez, Block, seriously? You don't know what a yeoman is? Keeping track of his every move. And so the story goes. Rand was transferred to another ship. Rand, still played by the vivacious Whitney, would later return to the fold for several Star Trek films, serving as the Enterprise's transporter chief in Star Trek The Motion Picture, an emergency operations officer at Starfleet Command in Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home, and a communications officer on the USS Excelsior under Captain Sulu in Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. And so they have the photos of Grace on in the book here. And that's all they have to say about the Menagerie 1 and 2. And of course, I have so much I want to say, but I'm going to throw it over to Clobby and to the chat about what you think about Block's coverage of the Menagerie 1 and 2.
Excellent. Really enjoyed that. Again, I love the episode. As a lot of people, obviously, well, as most people, obviously, because as you know, the show was in syndication for a very long time as the Menagerie. The only way you got to see anything from the cage,
that's right,
was that. Mm-hmm. So And so anybody, obviously, after in the 90s or whatever, when they made the cage available, but before that, if you grew up loving Star Trek in those times, that was all you got of that story. So now again, you can see it all, which is fantastic. You can, we talked about it, of course, in depth in our very first endeavor here.
We did
for this, but I love. So I'm like you. It's definitely an experience because you love the cage very much, and I know it's truly a great experience to watch the cage by itself. And if any of you have not, most of you have, but if you haven't, you got to do that for sure. But that said, because of how I grew up loving this episode, I do enjoy it this way as well. I really do love all the story about Spock risking his career, risking his life, risking Kirk's career, even really. Risking a lot, put it like that, to help his previous captain that he served with for 11 years, 4 months, and 5 days.
What a frame, hey? Like, what a frame. When you look at a literary frame, Gene Roddenberry wrote this. Can you believe how brilliant this person is to just put it in a whole brand new frame?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, back then when I was watching it over and over again in the 70s and 80s, or the 80s in particular, after I got it on, recorded it off of TV, I never thought I'd ever see the cage. I never, ever, even again, until as we talked about, since they had that special showing in 1980, and I know he had taken it around to some colleges, I believe, but I just never thought I would. So I just love this so much. And when you do combine the two like this, although the cage, when you watch it by itself, there's a lot more to it. So it's definitely the way to go. This way you do get a double story, a great story. And again, all that stuff with Spock hijacking the Enterprise, the stuff with Kirk and Commodore Mendez, Malachi Throne is a great actor. Yes, played a Batman villain on Batman, everyone. False face. Again, nothing, again, probably certainly close to a top 10er for me as well in this form. And of course the cage. So yeah, I guess you get like that's like a bonus. You get two, really.
Yeah.
And we're just on episode 1.
I'd just like to say before the chat gets away on us here and we have no more, and it's difficult to track it. I believe that our friend Steve Mitchum has just coined a phrase for all of Star Trek fans, all of us nerds and geeks. I believe the new term is spurpies. Love you, Steve. Great job.
Oh, way to go, bro. Katie was that biggest one of my favorite shots of TOS. Really encompasses the exploration of the crew and the planet. I love that shot. That is beautiful.
The mats are just amazing, aren't they, Katie? Like it's so funny. Like when you grapple with this idea, this reality that models had to be made and that things had to be painted, and that there are all these things that need to be made by hand. There's a real artisanship here, a real love for craft, and I don't think CGI will ever beat it.
No.
From my notes, I'm actually all right with some of the stuff that Block said, but I would just like to reiterate that and I want to go on record here for saying the Washington Post reported in 2015 that Grace Lee Whitney wrote in her 1998 book, The Longest Trek, My Tour of the Galaxy, with a foreword by Leonard Nimoy. So he actually blessed this book, that she was sexually assaulted by one of the show's executives at a wrap-up party. It is significant. I said this is about Dagger of the Mind. So I said it is significant to this episode as a part of Helen Noel was originally written for Rand. Whitney believed she was written off the show for protesting her alleged sexual assault on August 26, 1966. So that's one thing that I would like to say, because all of us fans would have loved to keep that beautiful, blonde, gorgeous woman, and I feel terrible about what's happened to her. And so there I really feel like Block dropped the ball. But the thing is when you want to do a Star Trek book and you want to have all of these photographs and you want to be able to have access to these production things that are going on behind the scenes, you really have to make sure that you don't offend, I guess. For me, I would not have published this the way this is. I don't think it's appropriate. This is a fairly new book. The copyright actually isn't in the front of the book where it's supposed to be, and in that case, it's quite unusual. As Clobby always says, this is a brick of a book. It's not a typical format, but she would absolutely have known about the 1998 book. She would have absolutely known that that major important cultural citadels were reporting on it as late as 2015. And so I think it's a bit of a cop-out, and I'm a little cheesed about it. What else? I love how McCoy viciously comes to Spock's defense,
Yes.
vehemently defending his character to be beyond reproach. These men are great friends in a wonderful adult relationship. I also put Jeffrey Hunter is outstandingly handsome. This man is rugged, gorgeous. Marshall, Nimoy, and Hunter are the most beautiful men in all of Star Trek. And then I said, Gene really sticks it to the network here. He finally gets his way. He makes sure the female #1 is seen on TV, even though the network said no.
I love it.
And that's all I got for it. Clobby, anything you want to add?
Well, yes, as you know, I like you, since you give us all the good, the good details and different things like that, which I love. I like to just go and basically reflect on bits of episodes that I really love, rather than just, go through something like that, because you handle that so well. That's not important. And I guess I was so happy that you mentioned that part where McCoy, Spock's big adversary, as you know.
Yep.
As soon as Spock's his character is in question just a bit by Kirk of all people, or at least wondering, he jumps to Spock's defense. I just love it. I just love that. And again, it's also telling about the character of Kirk. Yes, he trusts Spock's. We just got through talking about how Spock laid it on the line for him and saved his butt the episode before. They've laid it on his line for each other before, but Kirk's commitment to the Enterprise forced him to have to consider that Spock might be up to something.
Yeah.
And so, again, it just shows you, look, he loves Spock. McCoy loves them all. But as a captain, and you have to understand that that's what he has to do. He has to consider all possibilities.
Yep.
And it just, again, just very telling about the character of Kirk. I love that stuff. A lot of the exchanges between Kirk and Spock throughout this and of course the episode that we're going to get to in the second part are great, but it's just such a wonderful episode. Paulie's here. Latino Slant. What's up, buddy?
Hi, Paulie.
Hey, brother. Good to see you, man.
Latino Slant has a great streaming channel. It's an entertainment, it's just a great channel. And I think it's in our credits for this show. If you have a chance, please go on over and give Latino Slant's channel a watch. He's a very charming, sweet person. He has a beautiful wife. They have a very interesting life. They interview people. They talk about pop culture. They talk about music. They're just really nice folks. So make sure you get on over there to do that. I think that there's a question.
There's a link
here
in the chat, in the description below, by the way. For
I think
Latino Slant.
Mark has asked a question. Were the Talosians the first non-binary characters in Star Trek? Yes, actually, they were. So we cover that extensively in the cage when we talk about what Gene was going for with that episode, and how that episode came to take shape. So basically, a lot of people see the Talosians as keepers, that they were going to enslave these humans to breed them as slaves. And of course, if you watch the episode, at the very end, all is revealed, and it's not a keeper at all. It's actually a magistrate, and the magistrate has no intention of enslaving the human race. The thing is that their powers of mind, that they become so attached to their illusions and living the memories of other people, that they stop procreating. Not only do they stop engaging in sexual intercourse but they stop creating. They're no longer painting. They're no longer reading and writing. They're not even fixing their own equipment. And so the creatures that are in the menagerie, in the cage, are those that are unsuitable. And of course they probably should have let those creatures go, but they didn't. But yes, in the final moments of the cage, we have this total unveiling. The magistrate is actually looking for a species to be as high-minded as human beings, because they want to go back to the way they were before. They want to teach these human beings their mind powers. They want to help them to become artisans again, and to be procreating again, making babies, and making a society again. So yes, I encourage you, if you have any questions with regard to the non-binary nature and the nature of the keeper against the nature of the magistrate, I would definitely recommend that you go to mine and Clubby's show on the cage.
Absolutely, absolutely. And yes, that's so true, Katie Carr. It was very tragic what happened to Captain Pike going in on that ship, rescuing all those kids from the Delta, being affected by the Delta rays. Just very sad, yes. So, yeah, what a sad fate for a great hero.
Yeah, but at the bottom line, though, is that the fact that he doesn't have to have that pain, that he remember, okay, he didn't really want to be a captain. You guys have to remember that. So when you're thinking about the cage, I want you to think about how he wasn't sure if he wanted to be in charge of people's lives, to decide, and I quote, who lives and who dies. And he was
That's right.
dreaming and auditioning the different ideas with his doctor, with Philip, so that they could sort of figure out whether or not he was going to continue. Did Captain Pike need shore leave, or did Captain Pike need to leave Starfleet? And of course it wasn't called, anyways, moving forward. Anyhow, so what I'm saying is that he was very torn about leaving her there. They were sexually attracted to one another, and he did enjoy the fantasy aspects of it. Now, the only reason why he wasn't fully able to enjoy it is because he was under the impression that he was going to be a breeding stock, that he was going to be a slave, and that they were going to, have this awful life. But later, when it's revealed that the keeper isn't a keeper at all and is a magistrate, all becomes wonderful. And then all of a sudden, human beings are not suitable because they wouldn't be good with all that mind control. So the viewer can take solace in the closure of Jeffrey Hunter as a character, as Captain Pike as a character, because he gets to go back and live all those dreams that he sort of halfway enjoyed and definitely entertained. He feels tempted. So I want you to think about the closure of the character in that way. He's going to be there with Vina. He is hey, maybe they might even have some children, and they'll grow up to be great artisans with mind kinetic abilities, and he has a wonderful life, and together they're going to go to planets, and they're going to have sex and kids, and they're going to eat and celebrate, and he's going to have a wonderful life. So I want you to hold on to that. Remember, people who only casually watch Star Trek believe that the Talosians are keepers and it's a menagerie. It's actually not. It's a magistrate, and they're trying to repopulate their planet. So I want you to know Pike has a great end.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. I'd take it. But I do like to sit around and watch TV all the time, so that's why. Well, not much TV. Absolutely. Now, do you want to move? Are we moving on to episode 2 of this now, or are you ready? I mean, we can for sure.
That's it. That's all. That the next thing is that the next thing is shore leave.
Okay. Well, in that case, let's wrap it up for this one then. And I don't know what we're doing, combining them both that way. But that's great.
Yeah, well, that's the way it's set up in this book, and
that's cool.
It has 2 extra tiles. So when I was thinking if we did it, that I was afraid that people might get bored if it were too long. So yeah.
No, that's cool. No,
Yeah.
no, good. Final thoughts on it basically is this: I love the Menagerie. It is, if not a top 10 or a close one for me. You get a great double story. You get to what you get to learn about that previous voyage in Spock's life, and you get to learn about what happened for the most part on Talos 4, and then you get, of course, the intrigue of Spock stealing the ship and all that kind of stuff, and the courtroom drama and all that great one courtroom drama right at following another, oddly enough. But I love it. I absolutely love it. And let's see, everyone. Let us go ahead now, and because I love your idea for rating them. For number one, what is your rating for the Menagerie?
Okay, so I'm not going to give an A to Block. I think that she dropped the ball here. So I'm going to give her evaluation of the Menagerie Part 1 and 2. I'm going to give it a solid C, perhaps even a C minus. I'm going to give the episode actual, and especially because Jean gets to show the world what they said was too progressive, what they said was impossible, to put people of color and to put women in charge in the military on screen. For me, this is an A plus. This is written by Gene Roddenberry. The world finally gets to see my beloved Cage, and this is the best writing of Star Trek. The greatest episode of Star Trek ever written is The Cage. And so to see it reframed and we actually get to see it is a feat. It is such a wonderful thing he did as an author and as a producer of a show. So A plus plus. I want to give bonus marks here. The professor wants to give bonus marks. I'm going to give 20% more to the next essay.
Well, I think I go with the solid A on this one. I really do love it. Like I said, again, it's a double. It's not just a two-parter. Now there are a lot of two-parters in TV shows, not in this one, but I mean, a lot of shows can do that, but there's still one story. It's a two-parter, and it's two stories in one. I love this episode very much. It gets an A from me. Let us see what our dear friends in the chat have to say. Are in A. We're getting some A's. Listen, we're like Fonzie here. We're going A.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here.
This is beautiful.
In A again, Scuba Pete. A, Eric K. A. Sandra A. The wonderful Sandra Feliciano. Anybody else with some ratings for us, my dear friends?
Beautiful.
Another one. Well, this is getting like, wow, look at that average. This is extraordinary. We've got an A average here.
Yeah.
A minus from James Caserta. A plus from TMF. Toxic Man Flu. Thank you so much.
The one and only.
Indeed. And the also one and only Katie Carr. A.
Yes.
Anyone else? I didn't
Smart Steve, you skipped him. He's way up at the top. He did
I'm sorry.
A breakdown. He did a breakdown.
Oh, I'm sorry, brother. I can't.
Part 1 gets a B, a 7.6. Part 2 gets a B plus, a 7.9. That is from Smart Steve. Also,
okay, I couldn't find it, but okay.
Before we go away, see, I kind of knew that this was going to eat up a lot of time because it's a really, really important episode. So if you have any other questions, please put them up to the chat and we'll address them as much as we possibly can. But there were some comments, especially from Toxic Man Flu, about what a great actor Jeffrey Hunter was. That's one of the reasons. I love that you said that, TMF. I would just like to say that that's the reason why I give Block's evaluation here a C, because it also was not Jeffrey Hunter's idea to not do Star Trek. So if you have been watching this, then you know that Jeffrey Hunter's wife was the one who felt that he was above doing science fiction. Science fiction was a dirty little word, probably just under or just above porn. And so she didn't want him doing science fiction. She thought it was beneath him. He was going to be this big film star. So he returned to doing Westerns. So he was a wonderful actor. And what's really sad is that he died due to the injuries he sustained on set of these Westerns. And then he fell and he hit his head and he had a bleeding brain hemorrhage and he wound up dying. So yeah, very very, very tragic, but Jeffrey Hunter is a beautiful, beautiful man. I wish we had more men like him on TV. I don't really like the guys who are coming out today. I love this rugged man. He's athletic, he's rugged, he's mean, but he's also kind, and he has just yeah. This is this makes a girl's heart go pitter patter.
Rock Thunderheart, A+, by the way.
Yes,
Lord,
Rod.
my good buddy Lord Thoth, A-. So okay, I just want to get Mark, sorry. Steve Mitchum, you did not give me a rating, bro. Do you have a rating for the menagerie? Anyway, we'll get moving along, but we got our ratings for most everyone there. So I hope I got everyone's ratings. It did. Wow, this episode did well. Knocked it out of the park. Huh? Yeah. All right. All right. Let's see here. Bop. Now, we are on to our final episode for this evening, ladies and gentlemen. So, without further, whatever they call it,
Adieu.
proceed. Adieu not. You go for it.
These are the Steves I know. These are the Steves I know. In the chat, I just had to. They're the steviest Steves of all the Steveness. I would just like to say that right now.
We have more Steveness than Markness tonight because we only have one Mark.
Which is unusual. We're missing the Mark because we don't have enough Marks.
Yes. Bump. Oh,
okay,
my.
So on to Shore Leave. This is season 1, episode 15. But when we're looking at this as an author and we're looking at what Gene Roddenberry was doing, we're looking at Prod Code 17. Shore Leave. And we're on the block text on tile or page or brick, whatever you want to call it, 9596. An idyllic yet curious uninhabited world in the Omicron Delta region of space appears to be the perfect place for Kirk's crew to get some much-deserved rest and recreation. Then McCoy encounters a large talking rabbit. Sulu runs into an ancient samurai warrior, and Kirk's attention is split between a former nemesis from Starfleet Academy and a beautiful ex-girlfriend. Still, it all seems like harmless fun and games until McCoy is mortally wounded, skewered by the lance of a knight on horseback while defending a maiden in distress. As other crew members become embroiled in deadly scenarios of their own, making Kirk realize that this planet is not so wonderful, but who or what is behind these bizarre manifestations. The original story outline for Shore Leave by famed science fiction author Theodore Sturgeon was completed in May 1966, months before Star Trek's debut. As filming approached in the fall, a rewrite was deemed necessary to make the script fit within what had become the show's established parameters for the characters, technology, and story style. Sturgeon was unavailable, so another writer was given the assignment. Unfortunately, that writer was unaware of additional changes the network had requested, and so it would fall to Gene Roddenberry to rework the script after shooting had begun. Legend has it that he did it on location while sitting beneath the shade of a tree at Africa, USA, a 600-acre ranch in Acton, California. With beautiful scenery, a lake, and a whole contingent of wild animals on call, Roddenberry saw the facility frequently used in Hollywood filmmakers in the 1960s as the perfect setting for this quasi-fantasy story. Today, the location is home of the Shambhala Preserve, a wild animal sanctuary founded by actress Tippi Hedren of The Birds fame. Additional location sequences for this episode, easily distinguishable by the jarring switch to a desert-like terrain, were shot at craggy Velasquez Rocks at nearby Agua Dulce, California? I don't know. My Spanish is terrible.
We have a Californian in there. They'll tell us.
Yeah, Latino slant's just going to be so disappointed in me. Anyways, there's so many languages when you're dealing with Star Trek. It's literally like probably 15 or 16 different languages. There's no denying that Captain Kirk can be hard on his wardrobe. Time after time, his garments have been exposed to the kind of sartorial mayhem that would make even a seasoned seamstress weep. But in Shore Leave, Kirk's shirt actually seems to rend itself. Case in point, Kirk's tussle with the old rival Finnegan is definitely rough and tumble, but his gold tunic is clearly intact through the sequence in which Finnegan slams the captain to the ground. Nevertheless, when the camera moves in for the tight close-up, Kirk's garment is mysteriously torn to shreds. Script supervision is usually one of the most steadfast aspects of television and film production. It's the supervisor's difficult job to oversee continuity from scene to scene, noting everything from the way the actor is standing to the way that the scene is lit. But given that Shore Leave's script was being rewritten as it was shot, every department had its hands much too full. This lady writes really strangely. I find it hard to read her. Anyway, here and there, it's her sentence construction. She's very strange. Anyway, here and there, wardrobe continuity became a bit, well, non-contiguous. Yeoman Barrow's uniform, which suffers damage following an attack by Don Juan, shows similar inconsistencies from scene to scene. And a minute later, and a last-minute name change for actress Barbara Baldwin from Mary Teller and Angelina Martin, the actor she's played in The Balance of Terror, somehow didn't get dubbed in during post-production for scenes shot prior to the name change. Hence, she is referred to by different names at different points in the story. Compounding matters, everyone in the production seems to have a pet element to work into the story about the planet where thoughts become reality. Some made it into the script and some didn't. A live tiger was rented, but although William Shatner reportedly hoped to wrestle it to the ground, the idea was nixed. The tiger's appearance was brief and relegated to the sidelines. An elephant was also rented, but never got a moment on camera. Despite the topsy-turvy nature of the production, however, Shore Leave is inarguably one of Star Trek's most popular episodes. McCoy is the first Enterprise crew member to experience the wonders of this strange amusement park planet. In a world where idle thoughts instantly manifest into reality, McCoy finds himself face to face with a white rabbit from Lewis Carroll's fanciful tale, Alice Adventures in Wonderland. Unaware that he himself is the author of this fantastical scenario, McCoy can't help but feeling resentful when his report to the captain is met with a good-natured skepticism on Kirk's part. Later that day, he's gotten the hang of how the place works. McCoy conjures up two scantily clad young ladies from Rigel 2's cabaret, bunnies of a different kind, much to the jealous Yeoman Barrow's displeasure. Ironically, this episode would not be DeForest Kelley's sole encounter with giant rabbits. 6 years later, the actor would run into them again in the horrific 1972 B-movie Night of the Lepus?
Lepus, yes, I remember that movie.
This time, however, the shoe's on the other foot, or rather, the paws, as the overly large beasts... Boy, you want to say breasts there when you think about the way the women are dressed. The result of what else? Man's infernal tampering with nature, develop a taste for flesh, and start munching on the locals in his town. And that is all that the block text has to say about Shore Leave. So now I'm going to throw it on over to Clobby and add to the chat and tell me what you think of Block's coverage. Did you learn something new? Do you have anything to add? Let's fish.
Yes, I didn't know that about the tiger thing with Shatner wanting to wrestle it. Then what's wrong with him? I don't want to wrestle it. And the elephant thing. So yeah, it's some other stuff. Yeah, as always, fun stuff to learn in there. I love it. I love this. Again, I'm batting 1,000 tonight. I got 3 different episodes. If you count 1 2-parter as one story, well, it's 2 stories. You know what I mean. But anyway, 3 that I just dearly love. If this is not, again, I said it earlier, if this is not in my top 10, it's damn close. I just adore it. I adore everything about this episode. Silly, okay, maybe it's silly. It's silly for a long time, and then it has a very intelligent, very imaginative story underlying all the silliness, which is what I love. Mm-hmm. You're having fun. All this crazy kind of off the wall type fun, then something really horribly serious happens. 2 deaths. As in Angela, we think she's killed. And we think McCoy is killed later. All kind of fun stuff. Some of the best character stuff in Star Trek with McCoy, Kirk telling McCoy about his academy days and things like that. And Finnegan, oh my God, man, this is just, I love it. Every bit of the Finnegan stuff, and the music, of course, that scene and that music, and probably on purpose, very reminiscent of one of my favorite John Wayne films, The Quiet Man. It felt like that in a sense.
Yeah.
I just love it. I don't know if that was Fred Steiner on that music, but I thought it was terrific. They used it a little bit maybe in some other episodes, but it was really great in that one. This guy, and again, I hate to forget the name, but I love the guy playing Finnegan. I thought he was fantastic. Say again?
Bruce Mars.
Okay, Bruce Mars. Thank you. I just love it. I absolutely love every bit of it. Yes, it's ludicrous to see the big rabbit and all that kind of stuff, but they do a wonderful job of explaining it at the end. One of the things Star Trek does best, folks, ideas, concepts, and fun, with a few serious things sprinkled in there toward the end. Just a wonderful, imaginative episode that has so many great scenes. It would take forever to list them all. It's all my favorite bits. Of course, the Kirk and Finnegan stuff, the McCoy and Yeoman Barrow stuff. And I'm sorry to be a toxic male on you, ladies and gentlemen, but oh my God, she's rates right up there at the top of my favorite Star Trek ladies in terms of guest shots or what have you. Oh boy. Who does not love Yeoman Barrows? You're not alive if you don't. I love her. I'm in love with her right now. I want her to come back.
She's gorgeous.
Yeah.
I agree with Scuba Pete. I want to punch Finnegan as well.
Well, who doesn't want to punch Finnegan? That's kind of the point.
Finnegan is totally annoying. So, so from my notes, I just have the tiger. William Shatner pitched to wrestle with it and had to be talked out of it. So I did know about the thing about the tiger. So he had to be talked out of that. So that's around. There are some things that a block did not know, and I'm gonna talk about them. Some syndicated versions of this particular episode, depending upon what country you're in, you have less Finnegan fighting and more Ruthie romance, just so you know. And that's usually the BBC, because BBC finds Star Trek really violent.
Yes.
Also, you should know that, which I just remembered just now, so I had to scribble it into my notes, is that the bunny came from the Ice Capades. So they borrowed that uniform from the Ice Capades. Another thing that I love about this episode is that it's not a real planet. So when we're talking about Omicron, Delta, we're talking about a planet that has no name, and it's just there because, of course, it's this pleasure planet. But these people, the inhabitants, have such a massive power that the planet's not even named. It doesn't exist. It's a pleasure planet of the mind. Also, everyone here should know that the women's parts for this particular episode had to be rewritten because, of course, everything that went down with Ruthie was supposed to go down with Yeoman Rand, the late great Grace Lee Whitney. Just so everyone knows that, and that's all basically that I know about this episode. How about you, Chat?
I'll tell you this, for those who don't know, I mean, maybe most of you do, there's a sequel to this episode of the animated series called Once Upon a Planet, which was kind of fun. I mean, that was kind of a fun one. I love this one. I love the concept. I love everything. And there was, what I have? A couple of my favorite scenes. I think I really love the bit where after Kirk finally gets, to beat the crap out of Finnegan. The look on the Spock. That's just such a great scene. Did you enjoy it, Captain? Yes, I did. Yes, I did enjoy it. One of the things I've always wanted to do is, I'm not going to say Tar. He wanted to say, I wanted to beat the shit out of Finnegan.
Yeah. Oh, the Finnegan character is totally annoying. I want to punch him.
But that's what he's there. That's the point of the character, though, too.
It is, yeah, it is.
He
It's
pulls it
his
off well.
nemesis, and
Yes.
what's really strange is that because this alien species is trying to provide catharsis, it knows, it intuitively knows that Kirk would derive satisfaction from being ensnared with this nemesis. So it's quite hysterical because this tells us so much about Kirk. Remember, Kirk is a stack of books with legs. That's the way they describe him, right? But here he is, this rough and tumble and athletic guy who can also have a really good saloon fight right there in the middle of this park, well, or this pleasure planet, this imaginary planet, right? So I love that he goes fisticuffs and that this intuitive life force knew that he would derive pleasure from that. That's hysterical to me.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. And again, I just really love the idea that when we finally get the reveal and the caretaker, basically even Sulu's like, play as advanced as you obviously are, and you're still playing. And Kirk, well, yes, play, Mr. Sulu. The more complex the mind, the more the need for the simplicity of play. Again, Star Trek at its finest.
Yeah, that's the more complex the mind, the greater the need for the simplicity of play is one of the best things ever said in Star Trek. But
Yes.
on that, could we please just show the bunnies?
Want to see the bunny?
Yeah, well, let's just put the bunnies up for the guys.
Oh, the bunny, not that bunny.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Oh no, I'm saying bunnies plural. You know what I mean?
Well, after all, I am on shore leave.
There are clearly 4 bunnies in this picture.
Oh,
they're pink and yellow. Yeah, I love this, and I wish that it could show the full photo because I would love to cosplay this. I would definitely do it. I'm not sure I would do the pink though, because I have waist length red hair. So I think I might go for black. I think I might do the black or maybe even the white bunny, but this is like, this is so much fun. I would love to do this as a cosplay. I've wanted to do it for years. I even bought body tape, but I've never done it, but I need to do it.
Yep. In this episode, it's really good to be McCoy because he's got these two, and and then boom, he actually gets Yeoman Barrows jealous. I'm like, okay, I like that, man. If you can't have the two, dancers from the on what was it on? What do you say? This planet I went on, Rigel. I think he mentioned Rigel.
Yeah, well, it's
right.
also it's because McCoy remembers them from Rigel too. But remember, this planet doesn't actually exist. It is the entire thing is through the power of these aliens. So so this is something he's recalling from being on Rigel too.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what I'm saying though. But still, they're nice, but Yeoman Barrows, okay, I can see it. And of course, Spock turns them down. I love the bit. There you go, right there, Spock.
Right?
But Spock smiling a little bit.
This is great. Like this is this would have been so great if we would have Grace needed to be in this episode. I love her, my little waffle basket head, gorgeous, beautiful. I just absolutely love her. But yeah, Barrow's body is rock. She has a rockin' bod, but the other girls, they're not too shabby either. I mean, look at those mamma jammas. Those mamma jammas. That's not all fur.
Yeah, we had some eye candy, we guys, in this one.
Yeah. And
Ruth was a nice looking lady as well.
Yeah, but I don't know. She's all right. But the rest of the ladies are wonderful. And wow, they sure inspire cosplay. You look at it and you think, I would love to do that. That would make me feel so sassy and so sexy. And it would just be so cheeky to do that. You just walk into the con. As soon as the vid is done, I am definitely doing this cosplay.
Excellent. Yeah, Ruth is not in the league with those. I'm just saying, well, my dear friend.
Mama jammas. It's a good word, right? It's better than the girls. Yes, Mark. I'm stealing that line. My pleasure, sir. You can take that line. Yes, the Risa before Risa.
I don't think you're getting a lot of pushback on you wanting the cosplay. I guess. Wow. I thought it would be all kind of objections. Don't you dare cosplay that. Okay? Are you insane? No, but surprisingly,
I love you guys.
No one has a problem with it. What a bunch of toxic pigs you all are.
I love you guys. I will definitely take pictures of it when I do it. Whenever I do a cosplay, I always make sure that it's like a super big con, and I always make sure that I get photographs of it. So I definitely will share, I promise.
Yeah, I wouldn't not look. Oh, who wouldn't not look? Well, okay, everyone. Shore leave again. Any other thoughts about shore leave? Again, we had a great, what a great bunch of Trek tonight. We talked about. I love this episode. Watched it bazillions of times. Of course, it's one of those because again, for those who don't know, the wonderful Raquel is, of course, very regimented in her Star Trek viewing. She watches them all in order when she watches them.
I do every year. Every year in production order, because linear, I have a very linear mind. I can't help it. And it's not always a good thing. It served me very well in academia because I set down a list, especially when I'm doing a lit review or when I'm doing peer review and when I'm doing editing, especially for someone else, it serves me well, but it's not always a good thing. Yeah, it's very hard for me to like cherry pick episodes and watch them. I can't do that. Just by my very nature, I'm very linear. We got to do the whole thing.
But yes, in other words, she doesn't cheat like I do and like many do. I can throw any episode on anywhere, anytime, and there are times, again, if I'm sitting around going, I'm in a Trek mode. So I'll get there, and I'm too lazy to break out like the DVDs or Blu-rays or what have you. Yeah. If I'm sitting there, and so I go, and if I'm on Netflix, for example, I'll play the eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I'll go up and close my eyes and just hit the button going up and down to see which Trek episode I will land on, and then I'll go, okay, I don't know, how about a different? Let me try again. But this is one of those that I've many times just zillions of times throw this episode on there. It's wonderful. It's great. It's a lot of fun. So now, my good friends, let us, I will get Raquel's rating and I'll give you mine. And then everyone, what is your rating of?
Well, first, we've got 47 minutes past the hour. We've got Smart Steve saying Yeoman Briggs has a nice ring to it. That's very sweet of you to say, but I am a doctoral prospect. So as soon as I have enough money to defend my dissertation, I'll be Doc Rock. So I'm not very good at keeping books. My areas of expertise are communications, technology. I look at the way that media and technology converge with society. So I would definitely be in a blue uniform and I would definitely be in social sciences. But I do thank you because it is high praise, because when I think of yeoman, everyone here knows that I think of Grace, and she is just a beautiful person. And I'm so sorry that we lost her to this show.
Absolutely. Besides, she's a commander, a first officer, in fact. So,
yeah.
So what are you talking about? Well, everyone, let's see here. Please, number one, give us your rating of Shore Leave.
This is an A for me, maybe even possibly an A+. And the reason is the fun factor. Not only do we have a lot of literary things going on here, we have this wonderful illusion, and we have we've got this sort of Alice in Wonderland thing happening, and we've got these samurais, and of course we have this heavy illusion to the Playboy Mansion with these Playboy bunnies and stuff like that. It is just so much fun. It's also really fun to imagine beings being so powerful that they could materialize an entire planet, and then intuitively, of course, because it seems almost menial to comparing to creating a planet, intuitively guess what you would like for not just for relaxation, but for catharsis, to genuinely heal yourself. And that for everyone, that doesn't necessarily mean beaches and fun. For some people like Kirk, it means fisticuffs and a Finnegan to pound into the ground. So this episode it's cerebral. It has a literary quality. There's allusion to it. The acting is great. There are gorgeous women on it. The costumes are fantastic. They didn't steal. They borrowed a costume from the Ice Capades. This is fun. And I love it. A to an A+ for me, just for the fun factor.
Could have been worse. You could have seen the rabbit. I love it. I absolutely, completely concur. This one is probably an A to an A, maybe even an A+. I'm being non-committal. I'm going to go with a solid A here, folks. I do dearly love it for all the same reasons. Fun factor, as we're seeing a lot in the chat here. Let's see. Lord Thought, thanks, bro. I know you got to run. Appreciate you being here.
Good night, sweethearts. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, you the man. Thank you for being here, but I really appreciate you. Let's see here.
Hope you're still here. Good night, sweetheart. I'm so happy that you came tonight. We'll see you next Saturday.
Always. He's a great pal, and always great. And dude, soon enough, we will be talking again on a stream. I hope. I hope I'm starting at the right spot. Sandra Feliciano, A. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Good buddy Steve Mitchum, A+ for me. Also, the fun factor and the suspense element. Agreed. Mark with a C, B+. Fun episode. RN Feliciano, fun episode. He gives it an A. James Caserta, A. We got a lot of A's tonight. We got some top-notch episodes tonight.
It is TOS. I mean, it's TOS, man. People, this is very satisfying television.
Yeah, absolutely. Lord Thoth, I don't know what Lord Thoth gave it. If I missed that, I apologize, but I don't see it. He didn't miss it. But anyway, yes, sir. Avon lives in LLL. Yes, indeed. Lord, I'm sorry. Right there. I'm such an idiot. B+. B+. Sorry about that, brother. I'm a dope. Smart Steve.
No, I'm laughing at TMF. I'm so sorry. Sometimes I just can't help myself. I read the whole chat. I literally read everything you guys say because I love you. And sometimes you guys say the funniest stuff. I love you.
A+, A- 9.1 for the great Mark Steve. Sorry. Okay. A. If for only the bunnies and Barrow love. Okay, so yeah, we'll love Barrow. Yes, A. So it's Eric K with an A. Rod Thunderheart with an A. Thank you, Rod. And Scuba Pete, A. B+ for IM. And let's see what else we got. I think we got everybody's ratings there. So yeah, I mean that's a good consensus.
Go to 52 minutes past the hour. Can we marquee that?
Gotta find them. Sometimes it's not.
TMF.
Yeah.
My partner in crime says, I give this episode a solid double D.
You pig! Yes, you problematic, toxic. You.
But then look at these nerds. So this is so hysterical to me. We're so nerdy. Like now there's Spurpies everywhere. Who said? Look at Smart Steve, 68 at 52 minutes past the hour. Watch out for the Spurpies. Yeah, because obviously they're Playboy bunnies, right? But Playboy would have sued them up the wazoo. So yeah, beware the Spurpies. Who knows what goes on in that grotto?
Well, on that planet, that wouldn't be a problem because they're created by these sophisticated aliens. They're these casts. Yes. I guess these automatons that will function as your subconscious dictates.
That's right.
Yeah. So yeah, that would be.
So don't imagine Spurpies.
No, exactly. If you do go to that planet and create these lovely ladies or whatever the hell you want to do, make sure, in the case of the ladies, you imagine them completely, non
like when you were a kid and things were happening, and so you would have to sometimes walk around going, dead puppies, dead puppies, dead puppies. Do not think of Spurpies here or you're screwed.
Let's see. Katie didn't rate it. I don't think she rated it. But let's see. This episode was a bit risque for my liking, but nonetheless, it wasn't that bad. Okay, we've got the one downvote of the episode tonight. She didn't rate it though. Okay, so we respect that, Katie. I loved it. Risque. I guess could be. I guess it could, but certainly by the standards of the time,
She's a good Catholic girl.
Yeah, that's nothing wrong with that at all, Katie.
That's right.
We know we're being toxic.
That's right. We're being terrible. We're just awful people, and we all need Jesus. Y'all need Jesus. You hear that, chat? No,
Indeed.
I totally respect Katie's beliefs and her faith, and just the way that she lives her faith. So I love you, Katie, right. And I absolutely respect your how you feel about this episode.
Absolutely, Katie. And we're just horsing around having a little fun, but just
because we're idiots. That's just who we are on this show.
yeah. And we love you. You are absolutely terrific. We think you're great, and we do get that one. And again, joking about all the bunnies and all that stuff's one thing, but that doesn't matter. It can be a garbage episode, and I would go the moment they had good looking girls in it. And I like that, but it still sucks. I love it for the story and the imagination behind the story and the fun stuff.
Yeah.
So. Yeah,
well, it's a very visual episode too, right? So you can, it's just very visually appealing. It's so nice to be on a planet and it's not a soundstage. Nothing's been created here. It's so nice that we got to go to the park and be in this park. Oh, that's something that maybe I should have mentioned in my notes, but it just popped into my head right now. That's the way this kind of stuff works. I don't always think of everything, but I should have put that in my notes. Did you know that they painted some of the rocks to try and make them look more alien?
No. Wow, I like it.
That's something that I probably should have put in my notes, but it's impossible to fit everything that's in your brain from 45 years of Star Trek into like one talk about it. But yes, it's very visual, Rod Thunderheart.
Absolutely. Well, TMF does say Katie is right, though. My mom was asleep, or I wouldn't have seen it when I was 9 years old. Yes, she says, no worries, my friends. I'm a bit soft in my liking of Quark and his Dabo ladies.
Yeah, okay, good. All right, good.
I love the Dabo ladies.
I get you, Katie. So yeah, you're not. That's Katie saying, "Look, guys, I'm no prude." So I do love you, sweetheart.
That. Oh, we know that. We're just messing with her. She's cool. She is fantastic and a great friend to us there.
Oh, I love what Eric K responds to Katie. Rod Thunderheart sends her a wink because he appreciates her. Eric K turns around and says, "Katie Carr, we love you for who you are," and that is exactly right, Eric K. Absolutely, it is so wonderful to have Katie Carr here. And if you're not familiar with Katie Carr, Carr is a wonderful ballerina, wonderful Star Trek fan. She is a university student. She has her own blog. She's on Twitter. But the reason why we tend to put a lot of emphasis on Katie is not because she's the class favorite or the teacher's pet. It's because Katie Carr is one of those few people who is quite young, who instead of going to the new Star Trek and imbibing it and saying, I'm a Trekkie. This brilliant young woman has gone to the beginning of Star Trek and learned about it before ever deciding whether or not she was a Trekkie. She actually cares about what we think, and she actually cares about TOS. So instead of getting on the internet every day and using these fake transmedia narratives where you're actually just trying to create vanity metrics that you're a Trekkie, Katie actually cares, and she's actually here to learn about Star Trek and old Star Trek from beginning to end. So that's why we like to point her out and say, you know what, that's really great, because without people like Katie Carr, no one will be remembering this series the way that we do in Gen X.
Absolutely. And Steve Mitchum's right. Katie Carr and any other wonderful young person like her is the future of classic Trek. They're the people that will keep it going. So absolutely, we love you, Katie. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
And again, when we finally get all the way to Voyager, we got an expert right there. I mean, there's nobody to watch more Voyager than her.
She's chronic. Like like she is chronic. That's the best way to describe Katie's love affair with Voyager. It's chronic, and so she's gonna blow up the chat when we get to Voyager. It's gonna be great.
Man, Go ahead.
Maybe she might come on the panel if you wouldn't mind. I don't want to put you on the spot,
no, I was going to say it myself. Look, when we do Voyager, you're always welcome, Katie. And then you can correct this. And go like, oh, you guys, you got that wrong.
You can correct the old folks who are teaching you about the old stuff, and you'll know those little tiny nuggets of information about Voyager that maybe we're not so well versed on. So, Katie, I just want you to know on behalf of Clobby and myself, we would love to have you on when we, at least maybe once or twice. I don't want to put you on the spot either, but if you'd like to, I'd like you to know that we're sending that invitation to you in any capacity, 1 or 2 shows, or even just to drop in. We'd love that.
Absolutely. No pressure. The invite's open. If you want it any night, if it's every time we do it or once in a while when we do it, whatever, Katie, when we get to Voyager, we would love to have you on there. Your expertise with Voyager will be invaluable. And we know you love the show and you love talking about it. So that invite is open. Again, never feel like you have to or obligated, but the invite is there.
Yep. So, yeah, that'll be wonderful.
Obviously it takes us a while to get there, but we're going to get there. So,
it's going to be a fun journey. It's going to be a long road getting from there to here.
Getting from there to here. Oh, by the way, let's see. Oh, she's currently working. She wrote something here. Currently working on a February blog article of my favorite 66 through 05 Trek romances, Carrying the Torch. Yes, please. When you get that done, make sure you come and link it to us or let us know. We'll put that out there for you. Which is currently working on it now, but when you get it done, and we'll link that in the chat and everything once it's posted.
Yeah, and I love that this beautiful young woman who I love very much has turned around and completed what she said there by saying carrying the torch. And I do have to tell you that Leonard Nimoy, that was actually his dream. His dream was that this series would be remembered and that his work would be remembered, and that all this beautiful literary theory and philosophy and sociology and all of these wonderful things that they folded into this television series that they struggled to bring to life on a shoestring budget, all these big and beautiful ideas. Yeah, he didn't want them to be forgotten. So what you have just done right now, Katie Carr, is in tribute to Gene Roddenberry, the great bird, and Leonard Nimoy. You can carry the torch, my dear. It's a great honor to have you to be a Trekkie, and you're a real Trekkie, not just a social media person, an actual Trekkie.
Absolutely. I'm always inspired by her love and passion for that show.
Yes.
And, let's see what this episode was. Even though one was a 2-parter, we got 4, so that keeps us balanced for when we get to the end of the first season. There'll be 4 episodes in that last one too. Then we'll be able to move on to the second. My question about it is: the second season also, is there a production order that I can find out there? Because I know that Amok Time is the first one aired.
Mm-hmm.
But wasn't Cat's Paw made before that one? And wasn't Chekhov? That was his first episode. Was Cat's Paw?
Well, actually, the thing is that the numbers don't start lining up, and the numbers move around due to that production stuff. So some of that stuff is actually physical. So sometimes props have to be made, and production has to be moved around. So I follow along in the list, and here we did see Gene catch up. So we'll have to see if he continues to catch up. I just follow a list. I would actually need to go and check because it's 45 years of Star Trek for me, and 45 years of Star Trek is not something that you can memorize to any good degree.
I look it up. As I told you, I got that Mark Cushman book. These are the Voyages. I'm just starting to dig into it. It is really amazing. It's extraordinary. I really love it, and I'm just learning so much. But I'm just now getting started. Very thorough. I only got the season 1 book. I'm going to get the other ones. So that tells you a lot. And again, a lot of it's all these books were made. He spent decades making this thing, all from production notes from every episode that he got from Gene Roddenberry personally. So
Oh yeah, so then
pretty
you know
amazing.
exactly what I'm talking about. Like Gene was constantly chasing himself, but it wasn't just because he was unprofessional or whatever. Sometimes it was about budget, but sometimes it was like, do you remember when we talked about how that company came forward to offer to build the shuttlecraft? Well, those things take time, right? So we have to move things around. So sometimes it's easy to stay on track, and sometimes you have to move things around. So production codes are really how the stories are taking shape behind the scenes. So one of the reasons why I like to do that is not because, you know, I'm like super militant, but it's the fact that I find it incredibly vital in the first series, especially. And the reason being is a lot of people will make fun of the original series, and they believe that there are all of these quote unquote mistakes in it. And it's not that there are mistakes in it. It's that people don't realize that a pilot was chopped up and turned into 2 episodes, and that this episode happened before this episode, and that this happened at this time. So for me, what's important about watching through production codes is because you're actually following along with the author, Gene Roddenberry. You're actually following along with the cast as they created this beautiful thing. And sometimes we're going to be on time and sometimes we're not, because we have to make things and we got lots of crap going on. So let's see.
Yeah. So, oh, by the way, you know what? I did forget something that is kind of we should bring out. We should say, for those who don't know, this week again, some of you may not be familiar with this name, but there was a gentleman by the name of Richard Arnold, who was once the Star Trek archivist back in the 80s, who was a big Star Trek fan, who got given the job of keeping the records and all that stuff. He passed away at a very young age this past week. So, and I knew of him. I think I can't remember if I met him at a con or whatever, but I used to see him read things he wrote all the time and see him in interviews and stuff. So, yeah. I'm so a huge lover of Star Trek, who worked with Gene Roddenberry and others. So, yeah.
And Mark says that he went and bought the animated series book that I mentioned. Yeah, Mark, was I ever floored by how much you paid for that book? When you mentioned that in passing last week, I was just totally floored. I think I paid $40 Canadian for it. And I think I got free shipping and handling, but yeah, and you only paid $25 for it. But it is a gorgeous book, isn't it? I just love it. I'm so happy you have it, Mark. It's going to come in handy when we get to TAS.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be getting that soon as well. I believe this is a picture, if I'm not mistaken, of Richard Arnold. I think that's him right there. Yes, Richard Arnold. Again, passed away. So R.I.P. and may you meet up with Great Bird of the Galaxy. Yeah, Katie mentioned, apparently Katie saw that as well. So yes.
Yeah, and if you'd like to pay tribute to him, just go ahead and throw up an R in the chat, and
absolutely.
pay your respects. James says, "You wear boots, don't you, Raquel?" Yeah, thigh-high boots, especially when I'm doing my Bishi warrior as an Andorian. I definitely do the boots.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, Katie Carr, that is so true. At the beginning of the Cushman book, in fact, he lists all the different Star Trek books that he talks about, that he's read, and then he cites. I mean, there's a whole page, tons of them. You're right. The amount of books about the original series is wonderful. The True Trek Collectibles. There are tons and tons of books.
Yep. And that's where you have to start examining the authors. So that's when you start looking at the vetted material. That's when I definitely like, especially coming from publishing and academia, especially as a peer reviewer, I want you to make sure that before you buy anything on Amazon, I want you to go and read the criticisms of it, because it's very important to read those criticisms. Is there disputed information in the book? Was something reported on that was, incorrect? Did they miss something? These are all things that you're going to find out about in the comments about the book, especially if you're buying from Indigo Chapters here in Canada. I think it's also on the Kohl's website, but in the United States, really look through those Amazon reviews and make sure you're getting a good book, because there's nothing worse than paying you know, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, $170 for a book, and it's garbage. So protect
Yeah.
yourselves. Oh,
Yes.
Clobby has one of those pictures. If he
Which one?
wanted to get it, he says thigh high boots. Where are those pictures?
Oh,
I can
if you
send you
want
one.
me to,
Yeah, I can send you one.
I
It's
mean,
just
if you
if
want to
people want
show
to.
it,
Well, yeah, if people want to see my cosplay, absolutely. I'll just throw them up to. How about your Twitter? How does that sound?
that will work.
Okay,
That will
here they
work.
come.
You guys, you asked for it, and now you got to get it. I mean, again, it wasn't me; they did, and I'm not complaining.
I don't
Uh,
mind. I don't mind. I absolutely love cosplay. Cosplay is my life, so
Raquel
I don't
Briggs,
mind at all.
Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and Steve mentioned loves what he says about. All right, just let me know when you got it up there. Got it, so to speak.
I'll just start sending them to you now.
Alrighty, okay, there you go.
So when I send these to you, you should know, folks, that
Oh my,
these do not have Photoshop done to them. So I've blurred some things that are private that are in the background, but other than that, this is actually my cosplay for the Bishi Warrior, which took me over a year to do. And there are some pictures of me in the media in this outfit too, where you can see the makeup that took me a really long time to perfect.
All right, let's see here. I will.
And I'm going to put this. I'm going to put this one up for Smart Steve. This is when I'm teaching. This is me as a grammar commissioner.
Oh, okay. All right, everyone, and I will scroll them once you're ready. You got them all on there.
Yeah, no problem.
Of course, this is our Andorian here with that beautiful blue skin there. Let's see. He wants pictures of CLOBBERIN.
There you go.
I'm not even going to put that one up there, Steve Mitchum, you bastards. Let's see here. And there's a lovely picture of you with the blue, with your oh my goodness, boots, and boots. We like that. Beautiful.
Thank you.
And a beautiful Vulcan as well.
And that's my grammar commissioner officer. However, that night when I gave a lecture, I did zip it up all the way to the top. I was very modest when I was delivering my lecture.
Killjoy.
But yes, I do love cosplay. I have some from the ballet here when I did or not the ballet, from the symphony here, and I have done some other public appearances for theater companies. And one that was really super cool was in a building that has all open ceiling, and it's all metal. So I actually look like I'm on a ship. So I'll get that one for you. I don't know where that one is, but I will definitely dig it out.
Mark C popped in. He did not like shore leave. Cancel Mark C. Now I got you, buddy. Good to see you, bro. Thanks for popping in, buddy. Akel looks right out of an episode of Enterprise or TOS. It can be Strand's long lost sister. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, here you go, Mr. Play on Words there. Don't you gotta love it? You're adorable.
Oh, I love you guys. Thank you so much.
But it is wonderful there. Let's see. Let's see here what we got. No, I got so many of them popping in there.
So when I was super young, I actually kind of got conned into going to become a registered esthetician. So there was a time when I was very, very young. I was only 18 years old, where I wanted to be in the union to do makeup on television and film. So I actually have, I'm a journey person esthetician, registered and licensed esthetician, and I have a separate Canadian diploma in makeup artistry. So it took me quite a while to develop the concoction to do the Bishi Warrior so that it would be very good even on close-up. So yeah, that I really love that you guys love it, because it took me a long time to develop.
You're a singer too? James Caserta asks.
Yes, actually I am. How did you know that, James? I actually grew up in I grew up in a band, so yeah.
Hashtag adorable.
Ah, thank you. And adorable. Thanks, guys. Okay,
She,
enough of me about me.
most people run away to join the circus. She ran away to join the band.
No, actually, it was my family's band. So everyone in my family are professional musicians. So I basically grew up on the road in a professional band. So not amateurs, not like weekend warriors hacking it out or just having fun and having beers. My family did a lot of outdoor concerts and big gigs here in Canada. So yeah, so that's how I grew up. And so I learned to play. I was classically trained in music, learned how to sight read and play a couple of instruments, and I sing. And yeah, but I don't do that anymore. I'm an adult now.
Oh, well, you could sing here anytime you wanted to. You know, if there's a rock and roll heaven, I bet they have a hell of a band. Anyone know the name of that song? I know someone knows it. I can.
Smart Steve, thank you for asking, but I would like to maintain my privacy. So
Yes. We all know but she did open up for Kiss. I just want to not.
no, nothing like that. Nothing like that. Nothing like that.
It's
No.
heavy metal. We know it. We know it.
No, just some, yeah, just no, not famous at all. That's doing it in the 1970s and the 1980s. There were a lot of professional musicians, full bands, especially like the Partridge Family. Basically, that's what my family was like. So it's not like we were famous or anything like that. It's just that was very popular because that's what made the pub and restaurant and nightclub industry. So not a lot of people would go in to get blindingly drunk when they would go out. There were a lot of people who were enamored by the idea of saloons and things like that because there were so many westerns on TV and stuff. So when they would walk into these nightclubs and lounges and stuff, they would expect to see a full 5-piece band. So lots of country music and things like that, and country rock and traditional country music and things like that. But by no means, no, not famous, not at all. I played in a few festivals through my school and stuff like that, but no, nothing famous.
I got you. Well, hell, still had to be fun for you there.
It was Katie, an interesting childhood.
Well, absolutely. Oh God, I can only imagine. By the way, Katie, that's yeah, that's okay. Yeah, you corrected yourself, but yeah, City on the Ninjas Forever will be, of course, the last episode of the first season. We are looking forward to doing that one. Absolutely, Katie, love it, love it, love it. It wasn't Kiss, it was Rush. Let's see here, Mark C. I knew the makeup artist who did Vincent D'Onofrio in The Cell. Stay in Canada. He was a Hollywood prick. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, makeup artistry, that's hard. That's Hollywood for you. Yes. And it was just a fleeting dream. I was a very young girl. I always knew that I was destined for university and academia. I knew I wasn't going to be a makeup artist, but like when you see film and you like to do those kinds of things, you also have to remember too that I'm Generation X and I grew up in the 1970s. So when you hear Sandra Feliciano and I get on a wave where we start talking with one another, it's because like I just appreciate you guys so much. Being a Star Trek fan in the 1970s and 80s in Canada and even the 90s in Canada was not easy. We didn't get much up here. First of all, there are laws about Canadian content. Second of all, you know, in a lot of places, there were only 2 or 3 channels on the television. And a lot of us only had black and white TVs. And there were no big cons up here. There are no big conventions. So you have to imagine me as a kid always wanting to do this cosplay and talk all this Star Trek, and it really everyone around me thinking that I'm a complete freak. Like it's there's a level of nerdy and then there's sort of go away girl kind of thing. And so that's also why I was interested in it, right? Is because you have to, as a Trekkie, you have to have an outlet. It's also why I'm so fascinated by all of you, and I love your access to different things, like the Saurian brandy container. You guys could actually find that at a swap meet or like a Sally Ann or whatever. It's crazy that you guys have that kind of access and that you had that kind of developed fandom so early on. And in Canada, it was virtually non-existent.
Yep. I mean, it is amazing. Like I say, I want that damn bottle. One day
Yeah.
we're going to get you those glasses somehow. I can't believe that Club. Why wouldn't I quote the Righteous Brothers? I love that song. You just had to remind me of the title. That's all. What's it here? Sandra? We only had one TV in the house, and it was black and white. It was the only one of my friends.
Yeah.
Well, back then, a lot of people don't realize this, but the whole world was in black and white until 1964.
Yeah. But it's also the fact that Sandra is an accomplished academic in her own right. She has a master's degree. If she wanted to, she could go and get her PhD in nursing, so have virtually a doctorate in nursing. And Sandra and I are very rare. Nowadays, like you go on social media and it's like only 600,000 people watch the Batwoman, but 82 million watch that Bridgerton show. That's Regency romance. And so they keep telling us through social media that women like science fiction and that it's everyone and all this other stuff. And it's really not true. Sandra and I are basically pretty anomalous, not only in our generation, but in our gender. When we were younger, if you want to go and talk Star Trek, you're going to be hanging out with the guys, not the girls. So yeah, it's not quite the way that I think the modern social media portrays it.
Rod Thunderheart asked, "Did you ever watch the French CBC channel, Raquel? I was fascinated by watching Incredible Hulk in French."
Yeah, because if you wanted to watch it, that's what you had to do, right? Because you have 3 channels, and in Canada, that I think at that time, wasn't it? I'm not up on my broadcasting law right now, but back then, wasn't it 2? I believe it was legally, we had to have 2 French stations. So you had a base station in our country, base stations. So basically 2 English and 2 French, I believe, back then.
Well.
And you needed the rabbit ears for the English channels.
Oh, okay. We have an emergency situation here, red alert, because Mark C has to get canceled yet again because he has another confession.
What the hell?
He enjoys Spock's brain.
Why?
Dude.
Brain.
Brain. What is brain? By the way, Katie, I definitely agree. I love that Data Picard thing by Pogo on that's the thing. Oh, I can't get it out of my head when I hear that thing. It's great. It's on YouTube. Go watch. Everyone just go look for Pogo on YouTube. It's Pogo's channel, and put Data and Picard, and then listen to that thing. Then you're going to hate my guts because you're not going to be able to get it out of your head. It's really crazy. He's pretty talented though. But another reason why I pulled that thing up, what Mark C said, is I forgot to mention that we have another unfortunate passing, and it's to do with Spock's brain. The lady who played the I forget her name and everything. I apologize, everyone. I was trying to find the cast listing. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, cast is Sheila Layton.
Yes.
Passed this past week as well.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah. So again, beautiful lady, and not a beautiful episode, but a lovely lady.
Steve Mitchum. Oh my God, Mark C must have had a stroke.
I'm trying to find that one.
He had an antenna on top of the house as well as rabbit ears. When I'd move the antenna, the electrical field in my body affected the signal. Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. And you could even shut your watch off. And what's really bad is when you used to have to take out the aluminum foil, or sometimes in Canada we call it tin foil, but you put the tin foil on the end of the rabbit ears just because that one line of snow would not go away. Love those comments, Sandra.
Mark must have had a stroke. I hope not. By the way, Mark, see, let us know if you're feeling better, my brother. Yeah. Hope you are. Hope you're feeling better, man. But this thing jumps on me every time I click on one. But that's what you get when you have a great jumping chat. I love it, Mark C, not yet.
Oh my God! Bionic Belly Button just walked into the chat.
Oh my God! Bionic Belly Button. Oh, should we go? That's for Doomcock and Doomcock alone.
Talking about a smoking woman, Bionic Belly Button is in the house. That is one smoking hot chick. So happy that she walked in right after shore leave.
Oh, Bionic, thank you for popping in. Absolutely. Again, I always appreciate you, whether you're out there lurking or not, and saying hi like that. You are wonderful, and we definitely just, again, a great honor to have you in here. Absolutely. We're just talking a little bit of a mop up after our Trek reviews, and we're having a wonderful time. I am anyway. I can't speak for anyone else. We've got a great chat though. What a great rockin' chat we have. You know, we're lucky. We've over the past couple of weeks just got developed just one of the coolest chats around. Raquel, they're great.
Yes. I'm just reading what Sandra put up. Yeah, I heard about that. I heard that that's why she stepped back from social media. And I'm saying she is this as though she's not here because this is so awkward to talk to her on a stream. But yeah, Bionic Belly Button is in university right now. She's becoming a nurse, and I am so happy for her. And I'm also so proud of her. And I know she's going to be sensational.
Yes, that is amazing. Congratulations for what you're doing. I understand you're a very, very busy lady, Bionic. One of these days, though, you're going to come on and hang with me because we've talked about it, and I hope you will, but there's no pressure.
Sweetheart of a lady, hysterical, can shoot the bull with the guys just like Sandra and I, just like Katie. She Bionic Belly Button is a wonderful person to have around, and 1 minute she is an elegant woman and the next minute she's a card, so she's just great fun.
Clobbering, just thank the belly button for popping in. All right, you smart aleck. Why I oughta, you smart aleck. You smart alecky, wiseacre guy, you.
Yeah.
Love it. Mark, do you think I'd having these confessions if I wasn't running a fever? Oh, I'm still with the fever, bro. Man, I hope you get feel better soon. Damn it, that's an order.
Yeah, please take care of yourself.
Oh yeah, it is wonderful to see you though. Again, I don't know how Eric and Bionic and others manage that chat that moves so fast on Friday Night Frolics. Yeah. It's just lightning speed. I can't even see it. It gives me a headache. It moves
the Felicianos are
the Felicianos as well. It's amazing.
Yeah, I don't even know how they do it. Like, I have so much trouble on Friday Night Frolics. It is very hard to catch that chat. That's why most of the time I just pop in and I say hello to whomever I love, and then I just sit quiet and watch.
Yeah, I sit there and it's a great, wonderful, amazing pop and chat though, and those wrenches are just extraordinary. I wrench for my good buddy Polly, and you know, and it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it, but man, it's not easy to do. You know, I see those people really just amazing work. The wrenches out there are amazing. I have wrenches. I have who are my wrenches? Let's see. I forget who they are. I'm just kidding. Steve Mitchell's one. Who are your damn wrenches? They're going, what is a wrench? They don't even know what a wrench is. They just know they're wrenches. Oh, good Lordy.
Too funny.
Oh, my goodness. Again. Anyway, Toxic Man Flu. I hear you. Well, everyone, I don't know. Let me see. I guess we'll wrap it up here a little bit, I suppose.
Eric, what's that? Sorry about that.
No, it's a problem. No, I mean, not a problem at all. Let's see here. I want to wrap it up, I guess, a little bit and let everyone go since we've had him here for a couple of hours.
Yes.
And
I'm so glad that we did that two-parter and just stuck it left it at 4 because I think we would have went to 4 hours if we would have tried to do the next episode. So I'm just glad. I think it worked out. I think the timing was perfect. And we didn't even lose the Felicianos.
4 is a good number. And yes, let's see. Show notes, everyone. Of course, every Saturday night, right back here with reviewing all of Star Trek 1966 to 2005. All of it. And when we say all of it, we say Star Trek, the original series, Star Trek, the animated series, Star Trek, the Next Generation, Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, Star Trek, Voyager, Star Trek, Enterprise. And, of course, we're going to sprinkle the films in there when we, so That's the plan for Saturday nights. Monday nights will be my comic book night because we're Clobbering Times. We're all about comics and stuff. This Monday night, hopefully I will be able to get the wonderful Purple Valkyrie and my good old buddy, the Great Stone Loki, back with me again because we're going to do WandaVision and we're going to talk about a bunch of other cool stuff. Now, a great announcement that out of the goodness of his heart, and Loki, let me tell you, we got so many wonderful, fantastic friends around here. Raquel, Loki's such a great guy. Mm-hmm. He has decided on Tuesday nights, he has a panel of comics. He does a comic show on 7 p.m. Tuesday nights, 7 p.m. Central. And we do a comic panel that I've been lucky enough to be a part of over the past couple of months. And now he has decided, because he has a great and a huge channel, he's decided that there are 5 of us on the panel. He was going to let us, and again, it was his idea. Each Tuesday night, we would get to everyone would get to host his huge show on one of our channels. Each of our channels will be able to, and it'll he's doing that to help our channels, and no one asked him to. It's just the goodness of his heart, Loki. If you happen to be lurking, bro, we love you, and I appreciate that so much. So Tuesday nights, 7 p.m. Central, there will be the Loki's 7 Kinds of Mischief comic roundtable, and it'll be, I think, this coming week, it'll be on Fat Steven Seagal's channel. There will be one on Eris of Chaos's channel, 24/7 Fusion Media's channel, and then on my channel, and it's just amazing. And of course, links to all of their wonderful channels are below. We'll put out the information when that happens. Wednesday nights, I'll do an Open Geek free for all, and then Thursday afternoons, 3 p.m. Central. Back here for a around the globe show, as I call it, which will be we'll pick a topic when we can, so that some of my wonderful friends from across the pond can join me. And that's it. That's our show notes there. I want to thank you all. I'm going to see if I can get them all.
Well, first, because you always do it last, so I'm just going to cut in and do it first. First, I want to thank the wrenches.
Oh yeah, well that's a good point.
Please thank our wrenches, because our wrenches are the best. Just absolutely outstanding human beings who have not only come into this channel and into this show and done a great job of keeping the whole show in order and helping us do production, but they've also created such a great sense of community here. And in all that means that they're a part of this show, an integral part of this show. And I'm so grateful for you guys, the camaraderie that you've built in our chat, and your assistance in the production and the production value of this show. I'm really grateful to you guys. Just love you so much, especially Eric. You're just every show I want to make sure that you're around, because you're just so helpful in so many ways. Thank you so much to the wrenches.
Absolutely. Thank you. That's a great idea. Wrenches, I love you. Thank you so much. The great Eric K, the wonderful Felicianos, my buddy Latino Slant, when he's here, I gave him a wrench. My fantastic, longtime, amazing friend, the great Steve Mitchum, my friend, I appreciate it. My good buddy, the great Mark C, I do believe I've given him a wrench. I think that's all the ones I know of, but I'm not sure. But, I think there may be others, whoever, but whatever. Again, we're just going to name everyone else. The beautiful, wonderful, fantastic Katie Carr. Yes. Thank you so much for being here with us, Katie. The wonderful Bionic Belly Button who came in. There you go. We love you, Bionic. Thank you so much for popping in. And yes, I said popping in again. Sorry. Go after me, if you will. It's just a habit. I'm pleased that we were for the first time joined by your good friend, I hope the first of many times, the great Toxic Man Flu, TMF. Sorry.
He changes it sometimes because he is the pun master. He tries to play it off like he's just a jokester, or he's one of the guys that you'd play pool with at the pub. And he is absolutely one of the guys that you'd play pool with in the pub, but he's also quite clever. So there will be times when he will change that name. And it's usually involving some type of inside joke or pun. And it is to the delight of the crowds and me, of course. So it's so good to have you here, TMF.
Absolutely. Thank you again, TMF. Lovely to meet you, my friend. The great Rod Thunderheart. Always a pleasure. Rod, thank you for being here as always. We appreciate you. But of course, I had one right, and I almost forgot to make sure because James Caserta, thank you for being here for the
Yes.
first time. Very much appreciate you popping in, my friend. Mark with a C.
Yes.
My good buddy, Mark with a C. Smart Steve, by the way, bro. You're not getting down here without a thank you.
Yes.
We
These are
appreciate
the
you so
Steves we
much.
know. We know. These are the Steves we know. This is the Steviest Steve show of all the Steviest Steves. Love you, Steves.
It's been super Steving. Scuba Pete was here. Scuba
Yes,
Pete.
he was.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's see if I'm forgetting anyone. I am probably. Anyone? Of course, Paulie, my great friend Paulie did pop in for a sec there.
He did.
Paulie, love you, buddy. I know he was one of the wrenches, I think. Of course, again, love you, wrenches. Mark, again, Mark with a C, I mentioned him, but just in case, he deserves another mention. He's my sometimes partner in crime.
The Felicianos, the great Felicianos. And the fact, can I just tell you guys how romantic and cute and amazing you are as a couple? Just a great couple of nerds. I love that you blew a hug and a kiss to one another in the chat tonight. I am so proud and happy to know you two as people, just hanging out with you and watching you talk with other people over the last year that I've been involved with the streaming and with Doomcock, and just oh my goodness, you guys are just wonderful people. I love your company. I love spending time with you. Thank you so much for coming and just making the chat so much fun, and just for being so bright and just so intelligent and funny and engaging. I really appreciate you guys.
And I do too. Felicianos, it is always a pleasure. I again love having you here. Thank you so much again. Also, the most unpronounceable name on YouTube. Thank you for being here. I always appreciate you. I may not be able to pronounce you, but I can sure as hell appreciate you. I love that. I love his name. It's hilarious. Absolutely. I know I wasn't forgetting someone. Oh my goodness! So if I forgot anyone, I'm so sorry. I think we may have covered everyone, but we had just a great crowd here tonight. If you were here, if you lurked, and we didn't see you at all, or if I missed you, I just want you to know, love you, and we appreciate you being here. And again, 4 more episodes next week in our first season of the original series. Yes. So I want to thank you all. We're going to sign off now, and we're just gonna cut out with them. We don't do the outro or anything like that. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care and have a wonderful rest of the weekend, and keep on trekking.
Peace and long life.
That too. And Jolan True and Kapla.